Trust the guardians, trust the guides, trust the open and what's inside. When the moon is high, it's time to fly. Open your mind, let it all unwind. Let's get disengaged, time to engage. Turn another page, free from your cage. Get disenraged. When you feel like you've had enough and the week was busy and tough, you need a break, you need some fun, you need to take time from the run. We'll blow your mind, we're just in time. Seek and ye shall find. Time to unwind, let's get disenraged. Time to engage. Turn another page, free from your cage. Get disenraged. Aliens, ghosts, spirits in the shadows, spirituality, ultra reality, the Bible, the pagans, all the conspiracies, tarot, astrology, and alternate history. Open your heart to other possibilities and get disenraged. Time to engage. Turn another page, free from your cage. Get disenraged, 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 disenraged.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, Jennifer, how's it going?
Hey, Karlyn. Good. Crazy. My house is almost a different color inside now.
That's crazy. That's nuts.
It's so weird. We actually set a date. We are listing a week from Thursday.
Oh man, it's getting down to it. That's
Yep.
crazy. That must be you must be under a lot of stress. I don't envy you at all. Moving is like the worst. It's like the worst. Like part of the reason I'm never selling my house, not because I don't necessarily want like a bigger house or like a different house. You learn a lot of stuff buying your first house, right?
Yeah,
But
true.
like I'm like, I never want to go through that process again. Like literally never. I never want to have to deal with mortgages again. That was the worst thing ever. I never want to have to deal with moving, and I married a mover. So it's not like I would even have to
That's
deal
how
with
you
it.
met him. He was helping
Yeah.
you move, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Or-
Victor
yeah.
literally showed up as my mover when I was moving into the house that we live in now. Yes.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Well, it's been a crazy ass week.
2 of them in a row even. Yeah.
Yo, it's been a nutty week. And it's so crazy because like all these new people have been like, trying to communicate with me this week, and like all these old people that I haven't seen in a while on the channel, they've all been coming back, and it's all good, but it's a little overwhelming sometimes, and it's kind of like it's like part of me is like, where the fuck were you guys? Where were you guys every single week that I've been struggling for like years to get this information out there? And then one appearance on Fox News, and all of a sudden you're back. Oh, I see how it is. An accidental experience, like appearance on Fox News where I look crazy. Like you're all back. Okay. All right, we're back. All right.
Oh, no, I understand the vent, but remember to be grateful. Maybe they just all of a sudden you're back on the radar and they're like, oh my God, yeah.
No, I mean I am grateful, and it's I don't want to make anyone feeling bad for abandoning me in my time of need when I was desperately trying to get this information out to people, and everyone's like, Karlyn's crazy and just like ranting about capitalism all the time, and then all of a sudden Charlie Kirk dies and everyone shows up again, and I'm like, and you know what? it's like I hate that this is the I told you so that I have. I
Oh yeah.
genuinely do, but it's
Oh yeah.
also kind of like I told you so. I literally told you so. I told
Yeah.
you so. Sorry,
I
but I told you so.
I actually unfriended somebody today that, and I have a rule not to unfriend for politics because if the 90% of our relationship is really good and strong, but we disagree politically, I don't care. We can't do that, for the sake.
Yeah.
But when you continuously, especially coming onto something I have posted, argue with me, come after me, come at me, any kind of belligerent, belittling behavior because of politics, well, in anything really, you're out. But this time, I was on this friend kept posting things that was all the Charlie Kirk misinformation stuff, all the ists and phobes and all the stuff. And I was like, buddy, you can't, I know you're not this dumb. So two of my other friends who are mutual friends of his, we all got in there. We're like, no, 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 no. Here's links, here's this, here's that. And then his friends, and it turned into the battle of the friends. And it got so nasty. And we're trying to be nice, but some people just can't be. And so I unfriended him today because my friends talked about it, and I'm like, you're gonna be a dick. You're not even gonna talk to us or respond to anything. And so anyway, it just made me really sad because I don't like that kind of atmosphere. But I also feel like I now have to start really standing up for what I think is right and what I know is right and true, including work that you do and things like that. So because I've been so quiet about it, I don't want to get involved. I just want to look at pictures of cats, and I like watching glass blowing and miniatures and things like that. And I just want to see that on Facebook. I don't want to get into politics stuff. But now I'm like, I just took off the gloves. I'm so done. I'm so tired.
I literally don't even go on Facebook anymore. Like every once in a while I'll go on, or if like I post the Fox News clip or like an appearance or something like that, or like when I was in the New York Post for getting that, Texas State guy fired, like I'll post stuff like that, but like I literally barely go on it. I don't engage with anyone. Like I just don't want to deal with it. It's just like, and of course, because of like all the exposure in the last week, I've had all these crazy leftists coming into my comments, calling me horrible names. I got a weird phone call today. Like that was just like, I shouldn't have even answered it, but I did. And it was just like the weirdest fucking thing. And it wasn't a threat or anything. It was just like an unhinged, crazy person. And I'm like, oh my God, like the people in the world are broken. And I literally just want to wall myself off from like all of this stuff and just not deal with it. And like, I mean, I get belligerence from all sides. I get belligerence from the right and the left.
Yeah.
And I've definitely been on this kick lately that if you get even the teeny tiniest little bit belligerent, if you're saying anything about my weight, if you're saying anything about how I look, if you are mischaracterizing anything that I've said, if you're taking something out of context and twisting it purposefully because you're being an asshole, like I don't even read it, like just block or like even too like the people are like, you should really be nicer, block. Like no because like it's like concern trolling, and it's just like I don't have time for you people right now. I don't have time for this shit.
I like to keep in touch with friends and family on Facebook and stuff, and that's another reason why I didn't want to get involved politically or make any statements, is because half my family is very, very left, and I have to be super careful because I don't want to cause problems. I really don't. I really would rather foster love in our family than anything else. And I may have pissed off my favorite aunt. I don't know. I'm not sure. She's not talking to me right now, but I kind of feel like, this whole thing between what happened with Charlie Kirk and what happened with Jimmy Kimmel, even the people's true colors are showing. Like they just ripped and went, here's my tits, and now we can see what everybody's made of. And I think some people were very disappointed. I'm very disappointing to me. So
well, you may have pissed off your favorite aunt, Jennifer, but did you get a hit piece written about you in salon.com?
This is awesome. I was just listening to this.
Did you hear me read this earlier?
I heard you get through about half of it, I think. Yeah.
It's like the best thing. I'm like, you know what? I'm not even mad. It was written by a gay communist, but I'm not even mad about this. Like I sound actually awesome in this
It's more like a swing and a miss piece.
yeah, it's like the worst thing they got me on is typos in my tweets. I'm like, man, I'm like, what was my favorite line in it? Is like later in the same thread, Borysenko responded to a reply that was criticizing her for her Holocaust denial, saying, "You're literally Jewish. Your opinion means nothing to me." I'm just like,
Where did they even pull that?
he was going into the bowels on this one, man. And then he posted that I told him that I was shocked he was not smart enough to do his own research, which is true.
I
And
mean,
I was just like, this is a total W.
They must have done a search in your previous tweets and then cherry pick things, because I don't honestly think that you would say something like that. I mean, you would, because you're
no,
brash,
I
but you
would.
would immediately follow it up with, just kidding or whatever.
No, I wasn't kidding. No.
Oh, okay.
I did. Let's just be really clear. I did say it. I wasn't kidding. I don't regret it.
Yeah, but what context was it in? I feel like it's out of context.
Because it was some fucking Jew taking me out of context on Twitter. And you know what I've learned is that when Jewish people are being uppity, and this is, I mean, listen, every group has their things. Women have their things, men have their things, Christians have their things. Like every single group has their things. And if someone is being an uppity bitch on Twitter, then I have no problem just poking in and twisting the fucking knife and doing whatever I can. And what I've learned is that Jewish people really don't like being called Jewish. They fucking hate it. And so if all I have to say to someone is you're literally Jewish to get them to go, yeah, like I will do it in a heartbeat. And I'm totally serious. They literally are Jewish,
You're what I call a red button pusher. You go, oh, is that your big red button? Bang, 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 bang.
And just do it perpetually until they totally
yeah.
I have no issue with it. So this hit piece made me look awesome. I am now an official far right activist. And I feel like I've arrived.
Fascist, I think, was the funniest thing to me. I'm like, well, you do every time you talk about having a dictator. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, and that's literally in like the headline of the article. It's like Karlyn Borysenko, a self-described fascist, is gaining influence.
It's so precious. He tried to write. It's adorable.
He tried so hard.
Is he new? Is he new, or
I don't know.
Been around?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he might be involved with the New York anarchists that I went undercover with, which is what elicited the hit piece in the first place. Hey, Murphy's Pool, what kind of bee? No, oh come on, what kind of bees make milk? Boobies? Okay, all right.
I think there's I think there's a ghost joke too about that, like a booby. It's like a bee that's a ghost, or a dead bee, a booby.
Man. Well, for people who are new, because we might conceivably have some new people joining us tonight, which is rad. Welcome to DISENRAGE, guys. DISENRAGE is a show that Jennifer and I do on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. And this is not a politics show. We might banter about things happening to me or making fun of people or something, but like this is not a politics show. This is not a show about the news. This is Jennifer and I are woo-woo spiritualists. Like, it's ironic. I got accused of being a witch this week, Jennifer. Like Jennifer is an actual witch, like real witch, like real high priestess witch. But I'm the one that gets dragged for being a witch online. I've casted like one spell in my entire life.
That was what's his name? The Quartering.
Yeah, Quartering asshole.
Boy, did he have a meltdown that you were on Fox News? Somebody's a little jelly poo.
Oh, he was still going today. He actually ended up, so I guess he got dragged so badly in the comments that he ended up taking the video down. But then he did. Oh yeah, but then he was posting about me today. He posted like my profile photo, which is like, nice and like a nice headshot compared to like me looking crazy on like Fox News, right? Which, I mean, certainly there's a difference between the two, but it's not like I don't hide what I look like, or like people are like calling me a catfish. I'm like, I'm literally on video 6 days a week, you fucking retards. But like he was like trying to make fun of my appearance to make me feel bad, and so I responded basically calling him a liar again. And then he was like, well, what if I just put the video back up then? And I was like,
ooh, don't threaten me with a good time. I'll
But, like,
gladly repost everything I just said in there in the comments because
oh
we all
yeah,
went over there en masse and we're like, oh hell no.
yeah, yeah, like bro, like the reason you pulled it down is you got dragged in your own comments. You think I think you're gonna put that back up again? No, I don't. Jeremy, retard,
You know what?
whatever.
I don't understand why instead of going, oh, I wonder if I have them wrong, let me watch something to see what I think about it. Let's watch the whole thing. They go, oh, those are just her followers. They're just crazy. She's crazy. Everybody's crazy. And they double down. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that to me is a sign of a real ignoramus.
Well, and see, this is the problem, Jennifer, and this is why I don't associate with other content creators on the internet. I'm like, it's too low vibe for I cannot. I've gotten so sensitive to like energy in the past like year just because I got like really back into meditation. I had that whole
Yeah.
Kundalini thing that blew my third eye and my crown chakra open. Like, it's just like I've gotten so sensitive and I've gotten so intuitive that like I cannot be around that stuff. I just like it really does reach a point like where you just cannot be around it.
It feels like you're stepping in mud.
Yeah, all the time. Even
Yeah.
like it's like painful. It's like uncomfortably painful like at all times.
Yeah. I
Anyway.
understand. I understand. I'm a little closed off right now because I'm focusing on my physical life and I just can't get distracted with other stuff. It would just stress me out too much. But
Hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on. I want to make very clear to all the new people. No, we don't allow this here. You are allowed to have whatever spiritual beliefs you want to have, but you will not besmirch other people's spiritual beliefs on my Tuesday night fun relax show. And I'm not going to get into an argument about this with you. And if you do this again, you're going to be banned. Like, be fucking respectful. We believe what we believe. We're happy to talk about it. We're happy to have a conversation with you. And even Jennifer was raised in a Christian fucking cult. And I'm not saying all Christians are cultists, but she was literally raised in a Christian cult. So don't think she doesn't know what's up. So we will have respectful conversations, but you will not do this in my fucking Tuesday night stream. And if you insist on doing it, you can get the fuck out.
and I'm not Wiccan. We're not Wiccan here. I don't know.
Yeah,
And
we're
that's
not
another thing that people conflate paganism with Wicca. All paganism is Wicca. It is not. There's about 24 different kinds of paganism, just like there's 24 different kinds of every other fucking religion out there and belief system. And it's its own thing within paganism. But I'm not a Wiccan. I've never taken any oaths to any belief system, except to walk the single path of the lone witch, basically.
Yeah. So on Tuesday nights, guys, we talk about spirituality. We talk about crystals and astrology and tarot cards and magic and stuff like that. We might talk about conspiracy theories and aliens and Anunnaki and lizard people. And tonight we are talking about MK Ultra. And this is a Jennifer pick. Although I like this because I actually I know obviously what MK Ultra is, but I don't know. I've never done a deep dive into MK Ultra, so I'm actually kind of excited to watch our video tonight. Just chill out. Why did you pick this topic, Jennifer?
It came up during our other DISENRAGE that we did where it was like all the conspiracies. It was the two-parter we did of that one video that was like 3 hours long. And it mentioned MK Ultra, and somebody in the chat was like, "Ooh, MK Ultra," and then you're like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "It's a psyop." And then I thought, "Ooh, let's do that because that's a great topic too."
I think that's a great idea. I want to welcome YOLO for being a member of the channel. And I'll turn power chats on right now. It'll take a second, but I will definitely turn power chats on and have it on the screen. It just takes a second because I'm on a new computer and I have to log in new and everything. So we're watching an MK Ultra documentary tonight, but I wanted to show you, Jennifer, before we get into it. I have a very special drink tonight that I think you'll appreciate. Are you drinking anything fun tonight?
I'm just having a little wine and some iced tea. I gotta take it easy. I've been stress drinking.
You've been stress drinking?
Yeah, like self-medicating. So I'm like, I gotta lay that off. So I'm just doing a little wine tonight.
Well, I have the spicy pickle beer has returned.
Oh,
the spicy pickle beer is back. I asked Victor to get this for me the other night, and he got there like a couple minutes late, so the store was closed, and so he couldn't. So he got it for me like yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, that's real sweet." And the pickle beer, if you guys have never been exposed to the pickle beer, the pickle beer is literally exactly what it sounds like. It's beer that tastes like pickles, and it's amazing.
I'm salivating. It just, no, I love pickles. I love dill pickles.
Have you ever done have you ever made the bread that's made out of pickles and cheese and you can have a sandwich in it? Oh,
you told me about this before, but now I haven't done that.
Oh, it's so easy. Like I found this on like an Instagram recipe because like one of the things I watch on Instagram is like food recipes and stuff like that. And so I get all these like random like viral recipes. And one of them, it's literally just you get the the sliced dill spheres, and you put like 4 of them in a row, and then you put a whole bunch of cheese over it, like shredded cheese. You put this on parchment paper, you put it in the oven for like 10 minutes, and all the cheese melts around the pickles, and then you put a sandwich in between the pickled cheese thing, and you can have like tomatoes, stuff like that too. It is the best fucking thing ever. It is so good. I was eating so many of those sandwiches for like 2 weeks after I discovered that recipe. It was so great.
I've been going through a sandwich kick lately because it's just quick and easy, and right now I need quick and easy. So, but that sounds amazing because it's like I try to avoid bread and too much of the shit that we have in our grocery stores, but just when you need quick and easy, it's a grab. But do you make a bunch of those and then put them in the fridge for later, or are they best fresh?
No, I always made them fresh. You got to like let them cool down a little bit. But I mean, you probably could make a bunch of them, I guess. But like, I don't know. I prefer them to be fresh. Because that way I just made one that took like 10 minutes, and I would just like let it cool for like 15 minutes, and I could have a sandwich.
That makes me want to like put that on a baked potato or something.
Yeah.
I mean, bacon, and that just sounds good. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little hungry. I don't know.
There's so many weird recipes on Instagram. Like I got really into like the keto recipe rabbit hole on Instagram for a while. Not that I was on the keto diet, but I kind of like accidentally was on the keto diet because I was just cooking all these keto recipes, and I accidentally started eating keto for a little while. And I feel much better when I'm eating keto, like unironically. But like there's so many cool like keto recipes, like the keto cheesecake with like the yogurt and the eggs and things like that. That's really good.
There's like a chocolate mousse with like, it's like cottage cheese and cocoa or something, and it tastes like chocolate mousse or something. I don't know, just all kinds of weird shit. And I've always wanted to try them, and I would love to. I want to get back into my cooking kick once I resettle. But right now I'm just eating junk.
You know what? Allow yourself to stress eat. Enjoy the stress eat. Why not?
Either I have no appetite, or I just need to like find the bottom of an ice cream bucket immediately.
Oh, so good. So good. Anyway, the documentary that we're watching. Oh shit, I need to get onto Power Chats. I still don't have that up yet, but I will have it up, I promise. The documentary that we're watching tonight is this one. Jennifer, do you want to tell us why you chose this?
Just again, it's just an interesting topic. It's also a psyop, and I have not watched this whole documentary. I scrolled through for highlights, so I hope it's as cool as it looked in those highlights. But this is just about government control, settled like things in advertising. You know how they do quick little blips of something. I can't think of it. My brain is half dead, so whatever that word for that is, somebody in the chat knows what it means. But it's like a subliminal. That's the word I'm looking for. Subliminal advertising. It's also overt government experiments that they have done on people, and it's really disturbing. And on the heels of such a difficult couple of weeks, why not watch something that will flip you out even harder? So you're welcome.
Give me 1 second here. I just gotta figure it out. One of the things I'm doing is I have to migrate all of my fucking passwords over to the computer.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like having to look up all my passwords for all my different accounts.
Yeah.
But it is nice to start fresh, so I don't have to I almost migrated all of my old files from my old computer to my new one just automatically, and then I pulled it up, and it was going to be 2 million files that needed to migrate from. I was just like, no, cancel. We're starting fresh. That's what we're doing here now.
Well, everything's online these days. I mean, you keep everything in the cloud, and all that. I'm going to be relying on that heavily when we travel.
That's kind of like what I thought. I was like, you know what? Do I really need all the old files on my computer? I still have the other computer. It's not like I gave it away or anything.
I just need my photos and my writing. That's all I really need. And my Sims games. I need all those saved files to move over to my new computer.
Hang on 1 sec. I just want to get into Power Chat just because someone asked for it, and then we will get started with the documentary.
But we had a really fun night at movie night with Mac last night, and then we had an amazing turnout Monday, and on my show on Sunday we had an amazing turnout. Like, people have just been coming out. And Karlyn, did you know that your community has been getting together in the Discord to just shoot the shit and turn our cameras on and talk with each other? And
Good. I love that. If you're a supporter in the community and you're not yet in the supporter Discord, definitely, I send links out weekly on Substack and local. So if you guys want to join the Discord, you can. But I definitely recommend everyone get into the supporter Discord. Jennifer runs movie nights on Sunday. MacB runs movie nights on Monday. They would just watch the first and second part of the Stand miniseries, which is just like a great movie. I didn't get a chance to go last night, but I was glad to see like so many people went. And I definitely encourage people to just like hang out in the Discord. I love that you guys are doing that. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it was really fun. And a lot of us, we've missed each other. So it's been really cool. We're catching up with old friends, it feels like. It's just been fabulous. So I love that people are doing that. And I was encouraging people to, after streams, just someone post in the stream chat or put an @everyone in the Discord channel somewhere, maybe in general or whatever, and just say, I'll be hanging out at, in general VC, come hang out with me and let's chat. And there's games you can play. There's just all kinds of stuff you can do. It's really cool. It's really cool. So
see, it might be my supporter Discord, but really Jennifer runs it just before.
I just kind of watch. I watch from afar.
I appreciate it. Hey, Owls Are Cool sent $3 in via Power Chat. I've been thinking about this the other day. I can't prove anything, but do you think it's possible there's stuff that's being put in the food that influences people's behavior, making them more aggressive and radicalized? I don't know if it's like specific things being put in or just the fact that like food is industrially farmed with all these like Monsanto chemicals and things like that. And all these like most people eat shit for food, right? Like really what we should be eating for food is, and listen, I may have weight to lose, but don't get it twisted. I know how to lose weight. I am choosing not to lose weight because I don't fucking want to, because I have reached an age where I don't give a fuck anymore, but I actually do know how to eat. So how you should be eating is around the outside of the supermarket with like, meats and vegetables, like things that are actually like not processed food. The problem is too many people eat too much processed shit food. And even oftentimes when you have like, meats and vegetables, if it's not organic, it's like full of chemicals and shit like that. And so I have to believe that all of that stuff, like nature created food the way it did for a reason. And we went and effed with it. And that's naturally going to F with us over time.
Yeah, for sure.
My opinion.
I think it's why we're all so sick, but that's what they want. And that's part of what we're going to see tonight too, is a little bit of that mind fuck that they give us about what's nutrition. And one day coffee's good for you, then it's bad for you, then it's good for you, then it's bad for you. And they just spin you up in all different kinds of directions and give you about 5 or 6 prescriptions and send you on your way.
Yep. It's so true. And listen, man, sometimes processed food tastes good.
Yes.
Can we just be honest? Like there's a reason people eat it. It tastes good. All right.
It does.
We're human beings. All right. Let's get into the documentary, shall we?
Let's go.
Let's go.
We are not professing to tell you the complete story of these activities. We are professing to tell you the complete story that we know.
Right.
But these records that we've uncovered don't tell the story. They tell pieces of it.
I look at mind control as kind of a more general, informal level of mind control, and then what I call psychiatric mind control. So psychiatric mind control is there's actually a psychiatrist or a doctor right there interacting one-on-one with the person who's the target of the subject. The more kind of general global mind control just works by control of the media, control of information, disinformation, propaganda. And I think our culture basically is run like that. It's very pervasive. The basic gist of behaviorism is Pavlov's dog experiment, where you have the dog that eats its meal and it salivates when you put the meat out. Then when you ring a bell at the same time, the bell gets paired with the salivation. And then what you find, if you condition them enough times, you can just ring the bell and the dog will start to salivate. So that's classical conditioning. There's Skinner and Watson, both experiment on children. Skinner actually on his own daughter had her in a Skinner box for a good chunk of the first 2 years of her life, which was
That's
a very
crazy.
That's fucked up.
environment. It was
Father of the
actually
year right
physically
there.
a box. The temperature was controlled. And he thought that was a good way to bring up children, get them to perform exactly the way they should. So it's basically just repeating something and getting it ingrained in the person's psyche.
Training.
And that basic principle is used in mind control, used in advertising, used all over the place all the time. When you look at the techniques that are used in mind control, a lot of them are pretty low tech, like sensory deprivation, sensory isolation, food deprivation, kind of good cop, bad cop interrogation techniques. We know that hypnosis more or less was used in Greek healing centers, BC. So all these techniques have been around, and I assume that what we have now is the same sort of palette of techniques with a lot of technology and sophistication added on top. Mind control has probably been around for tens or hundreds of thousands of years. It probably was well developed in ancient China. In terms of actual documented mind control, it really begins in the Second World War. During the Second World War, there was no,
Of course
in the
it
United
does.
States, there was no.
Literally everything started and ended with the second GD World War. Everything. Everything.
Wow. Yeah. You know, when you think about it, but also that could be true because we were just really on the tip of all the technology where news travels at the speed of light. You know, now we got radio and TV and all of that. So it was like much easier to reach people instantly and either spread truth or spread lies or spread hypnosis or whatever.
Yeah, fair enough.
Central coordinating intelligence agency. There's all this fragmented different branches of the military, and the decision was made to create a central intelligence agency called the Office of Strategic Services, the OSS, which operated till the end of the war. And then there was kind of a 2-year lull period. And then in 1947, the CIA was formed, mostly from prior OSS guys.
The buildings behind me were the headquarters for the World War II Office of Strategic Services. It was here that the first halting steps toward mind control began. The shaper and molder of OSS was General Wild Bill Donovan. In this anything-goes atmosphere, Donovan appointed this man, Stanley Lovell, a Boston industrialist, to break new ground in many scientific and technical fields. He later wrote of his OSS job that it was, quote, to stimulate the PEC's bad boy beneath the surface of every American scientist and to say to him, throw all of your normal law-abiding concepts out of the window. Here's a chance to raise merry hell. It was in this atmosphere that the search for mind control began. It was the Cold War, and especially the trial of Joseph Cardinal Mindszenty, who was forced to testify in a Hungarian court that he was a spy. And then later, the Korean War, with the coerced and mainly fraudulent confessions of American servicemen.
My generation took place on the...
that would spark intense interest in intelligence circles about brainwashing.
In this setting, you can get people to do most anything, do you see? Because you don't have to lay a hand on them. And by the time you get through and you go up before the judge, the fellow says, were you a spy? He says, yes, I was a spy. The Chinese never really had this kind of a state police system. They would get him in, and all this fellow does is ask you to write, rewrite, and talk to him about your whole life.
Graduated from pilot training in 1949.
While the purpose of the study was to find out about communist brainwashing techniques, CIA documents show that the agency was interested in developing mind control methods of its own to precondition and control Chinese living in this country to be sent back to their...
Go ahead.
Because of course there's no pure research anymore. Everything gets weaponized.
Everything. I mean, it's almost depressing to a certain extent. Like, there is no pure research without motivation. There is no pure journalism. There is no pure nothing.
Yeah. Everything is slanted and skewed and manipulated to manipulate you. And it's that's why I'm moving to the country. I'm gonna go look at pretty flowers and trees and eat my own vegetables and hopefully get bees too. I'd love to get bees.
Bees?
Yeah.
You want to get bees?
I need honey. My husband makes mead. And
I guess that's a good point. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Homeland as CIA agents.
The documentation on G.H. Estabrooks, who was a contractor during the Second World War, proves that active mind control experimentation was already going on in the 1941 to 1945 timeframe. The Office of Strategic Services, which is the precursor of the CIA, was studying different types of drugs, interrogation techniques, and G.H. Estabrooks was creating super spies Manchurian candidates using hypnosis and other techniques
so
that were used
terrifying.
operationally during the war. And the OSS then was shut down at the end of the war, and most of the personnel then became the new CIA in 1947. And the CIA's programs begin in 1950 and run forward to 1973. And then after 1973, everything is classified.
The man who would oversee the CIA's research into drugs and most of the agency's behavior programs is this man, Dr. Sidney Gottlieb, a chemist. He retired in 1973 and destroyed the records of this work. In sort of a valedictory letter, Dr. Gottlieb wrote that he and his colleagues had been able to maintain contact with the leading edge of developments in the field of biological and chemical control of human behavior. Dr. Gottlieb also testified before the Senate subcommittee, but from an anteroom where he could not be filmed.
An anteroom.
Qualifications would be the subject selected to produce the kind of behavior that you wish, the amount of time, the procedures that are utilized, and the motivations of the people who are designing, executing, and administering the procedures. You're asking whether an individual can be, under hypnosis, influenced, coerced, persuaded, shaped to perform and
That guy is terrifying just on the face of it.
Yeah.
Like why are you ever like, who in their right mind talks to that guy and that guy's like, here are the experiments that I want to do, and you're like, yeah, this is a really good idea, like this should definitely happen.
So they can weaponize it.
Dang.
Ugh.
antisocial act or a destructive act or an act of violence? My answer would be yes.
This term Jekyll-Hyde personality is used repeatedly by G.H. Estabrooks. He, at various times, did seminars on military uses of hypnosis and creating the super spy on a variety of different military bases. In 1943, in his textbook Hypnotism, and his latest 1971 in an article in a magazine called Science Digest, he describes creating Manchurian candidates, which is artificial multiple personality, just like the Bourne identity, during the Second World War for operational use on contract to the Army. He would create, there's Jones A as the original guy, then he would create Jones B, which he called a Jekyll-Hyde personality. So he used this phrase Jekyll-Hyde personality quite a lot. And an example of an operation would be Jones is called in to see this colonel, and the colonel has been told what the hypnotically implanted code word is. It's the moon is clear. So this guy comes in, he thinks that he's being sent to Tokyo on a routine, unclassified courier assignment. He's given the assignment, and then the military guy in Washington goes, the moon is clear. Jones B comes out, the military guy in Washington gives him the classified information, flips him back to his regular self. He flies over to Tokyo. The colonel at the far end says, oh, hi, nice to meet you, thank you. That's the above board assignment. The guy at the far end says the moon is clear. Out comes Jones B, gives him the information, the response is inserted, back he goes. And he describes these guys having complete amnesia for the operation and being used operationally in a variety of settings during the Second World War.
That's
the
so
typical way
terrifying.
that you hypnotize somebody is you either, you don't actually usually use the swinging wristwatch anymore, but you use kind of relaxation, close your eyes, feet are getting warm, all the way up your legs, hands, whole body's getting warm and relaxed. You're going into a deep, deep sleep. And you're basically getting the person to narrow their attention and focus on you and heighten their suggestibility so that they'll comply with the things you're doing. And
What
you
are they
can
making
use
her drink?
hypnosis in a kind of direct, obvious way.
Did it say, can you
What's
read
in the
label?
drink? Hang on.
I don't know. It just, that's the kind of shit they would do. They were like, here, drink this water and it's
Warm,
tea or something.
all the
Where
way
was
up your
the
legs,
label?
hands, whole body's getting warm and relaxed. You're going into a deep, deep sleep. And you're basically getting the person to narrow their attention and focus on you and heighten their suggestibility
I can't read
so
it.
that they'll
Too
I
grainy.
can't read it. It's too grainy.
comply with the things you're doing. And you can use hypnosis
Terrifying.
in a kind of direct, obvious way where, hello, I'm going to hypnotize you. Here's what I'm going to do. Or you can also do it in a kind of indirect, more tricky way the person barely notices.
Well, and
The whole purpose is to
Hang on.
focus awareness.
Go ahead.
You especially know how I like to be in control in terms of, because I'm a Capricorn, I'm very anal, so I want to be in control of the idea of not being in control of myself is a top 10 fear.
Well,
That's like, ugh.
The
no.
thing is with hypnosis, though, you have to allow yourself to be hypnotized. This is like when you see like hypnosis at the state fair where like there's always that one person that's like,
Put that anywhere. Just put that anywhere.
it's fine. It's fine. There's always that one person that's like, and they're not going to get hypnotized and they're going to get dismissed from the stage because they're not allowing themselves to be hypnotized. Like you have to have like a certain disposition or something like that. And
Yeah.
so
I don't know if I can be or not. Have you ever been hypnotized?
no, I have a really hard time letting go.
Me
Like
too.
this is something I've had to really teach myself to do with meditation. So I can do it if I am by myself in like a totally safe space, like my bedroom or something like that, where I'm just laying there and there's no one else around. I can let go then. But if there's anyone else in the room, no, I'm not letting. No, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of being not in control of anything or I don't trust people that I love very much less people I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, for real, like getting hypnotized at like the county fair is like one of the dumbest possible things that someone could do, I guess. But it's entertaining to watch them do stupid things, but it's dumb.
Yeah.
Put distractions out of your mind and be more open to suggestions. These mind control programs for creating Manchurian candidates don't just use hypnosis or just LSD or just interrogation techniques. It's a whole lot of different techniques brought to bear for long periods of time. There are experiments in the literature showing, including the CIA documents, showing that you can condition somebody hypnotically and get them to fire a pistol at somebody, believing that the pistol is loaded, and then have no memory for having done that. I don't think it's really about getting people to do what they wouldn't ordinarily do as a spy or as a soldier. It's more about if they're captured and interrogated, it's all hidden behind an amnesia barrier. It's about protecting the assignment. There's specific experiments going back to the Second World War and in the CIA documents in the 50s and 60s to create amnesia. That is, somebody will go in, take papers off of somebody, go in, steal documents, deliver a message, drop off a briefcase. There's a whole bunch of different tasks under hypnotic control and then have no memory afterwards. The Manchurian candidate, which is the artificial multiple personality, is kind of like the super version of that, where it's not just simple amnesia. There's an actual new person in behind the barrier who carries out the assignment, remembers it, follows all the orders. So one of the disinformation denial stories that we hear all the time is, we only got into this defensively in reaction to what the communist Chinese were doing during the Korean War. We had our pilots who were captured. They were subjected to some sort of interrogation, brainwashing techniques. They came back home and they made false confessions of germ warfare.
I think that's an interesting thing.
What the hell?
This one piece
Oh,
will
no.
make 52 layers.
Watch
It's
on
in
mobile devices.
What the hell?
We're referred to as
There shouldn't be ads. I'm paying for fucking premium. Why am I getting an ad?
That is interesting.
Losers.
Huh.
done.
And then we tried to figure out, how did the communist Chinese get them to make those false confessions? So we're the good guys, and we're only doing that defensively. Project Bluebird was signed into operation in April 1950 by the director of the CIA, 3 months before the Korean War started. And then it ran for a few years, and then it was rolled over into Artichoke. So Project Bluebird, Project Artichoke are really kind of the same thing. The Artichoke team did interrogations on US soil using the so-called artichoke technique. And the artichoke technique involved IV alcohol and drugs, interrogations, safe houses, a variety of different techniques. And the purpose was to try and extract information from a foreign person that was being interrogated. And it also describes erasing memories and implanting false memories that will act as a cover for what really happened. There's a heading in some of the Bluebird documents called The Problem of Disposal of Subjects, what to do with people. And it discusses killing them or the option of using the artichoke technique to erase their memories.
What?
MK Ultra was part of a series. So it went from Bluebird in 1950 into Artichoke, into MK Ultra in the 50s, which ran into the 60s, and then it was rolled over into MK Search, which ran into the early 70s.
Wow.
So it's kind of a continuous series of programs. And MK Ultra itself was divided into 149 sub-projects. There's actually 4 MK Ultra sub-projects on children. This is sub-project 103 in 1959.
Wow.
The Children's International Summer Village. The investigator got money through Human Ecology or one of the other front organizations. I think it was Human Ecology. And apparently legitimately didn't know it was CIA money. All these kids are brought there to be at a summer camp. And the academic was studying how kids communicate when they don't share a common language. That was the project. The purpose of the project is to establish a relationship with young foreign nationals who may be of future interest to the agency.
In 1938, Dr. Albert Hoffman in Switzerland was looking for new drugs in the treatment of migraine headaches. He had been studying substances that came from the molds that grow on rye plants. Now, it turned out that these substances were of no use in the treatment of migraine headaches, but subsequent investigation showed that they are very fascinating indeed in the changes that they produce in our mental state.
LSD was invented kind of by accident in the early 1940s at Sandoz labs in Switzerland. Albert Hoffman was the chemist who kind of stumbled on it and ingested some and went on an LSD trip. The Navy appears to have started LSD experimentation in the late 40s. CIA got into it starting in 1950. And there was a lot of excitement amongst the contractor doctors for civilian therapy use of LSD. That is actually a therapeutic tool.
I give the CIA a total credit for sponsoring and initiating the entire consciousness movement, counterculture events of the 1960s.
Dr. Timothy Leary, the 1960s Johnny Appleseed of LSD.
The CIA funded and supported and encouraged hundreds of young psychiatrists to experiment with this drug. The fallout from that was that the young psychologists began taking it themselves, discovering that it was an intelligence-enhancing, consciousness-raising experience.
The CIA's interest in LSD was intense. The worry was that the Russians would get hold of it. Were the Soviets into LSD?
I'm going to have to say I'm sure they were, but if you ask me to prove it, I've never seen any direct proof of it.
But at one point, intelligence information received from Switzerland said that Sandoz Laboratories was about to put 100 million doses of LSD on the open market. And it caused enough concern within the agency that the United States was prepared to buy the entire supply.
The CIA was concerned that the Soviet was going to buy up the entire world's supply of LSD from Sandoz Pharmaceuticals, which they wanted for their own mind control experimentation interrogation. So they contracted with Eli Lilly Company in 1953 and 1954 for $400,000, which was a lot of money back then, to manufacture and supply a secure quantity of LSD to them. So the first manufacturers and distributors of LSD in North America was Eli Lilly Company. LSD works on the serotonin system in the brain. The first selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor antidepressant, which works on the serotonin system, was Prozac, manufactured by Eli Lilly Company. So how they developed their expertise in brain serotonin physiology was by being the first manufacturers of LSD.
Lilly has been for a long time really committed to discovering and developing medications to help people with serious mental illnesses, certainly including depression, and of course Prozac, which is arguably the world's most widely recognized antidepressant, has been marketed since 1987 and is the drug which, as several people have noted this morning, is the first and the only antidepressant which actually has a labeled indication for the treatment of children who are depressed.
This is a very small quantity of LSD-25, but all investigators report that it is enough to produce a temporary psychotic dissociation state in any healthy adult. The scene which follows shows what happened to Ronnie after he drank the LSD-25 solution.
How much LSD did you drink?
I think it was that
see
little
that?
tiny bit that
Oh.
they dissolved in water.
I was like, what the fuck? Like, wow.
You can't get the good shit anymore, though.
No.
After he drank the LSD 25 solution. I'm going to give you this cup that contains lysergic acid 100 micrograms.
I have to maintain my attention. It's an effort to talk to you right now. It's reality.
It seems to feel that I'm going to watch it.
You have the feeling that the rock feels that you are watching. Is that correct?
Well, somehow or other, I think that I'd like to rescue myself from the idea that there's so many different realities here. I'd like to find out what reality I'm in.
Does it seem like you've been here a very long time?
I've lost all time perception. It's just trying to keep things or true situations, trying to be aware of it, trying to stay in contact with reality.
Have you felt a waxing and waning with reality?
Well, sometimes I've been confused about which is reality and which isn't. I mean, what little situations I was aware of noises, for instance, that may have been to annoy me and may not have been. And rather than investigate, I just sort of let them go.
This feeling comes over me of almost like the singing, of angels or something. I think it's the soundtrack or the film going through the machine.
Look at the picture.
Real.
I'm right here.
Do you feel that you're very close to us in your thinking?
No.
Can you tell me anything about your thinking now?
I think part of what I'm thinking about watching this is, listen, I have a PhD in psychology, right? I am not dumb when it comes to psychology at all. But like, I used to watch people like this and think they know so much more than I do, and they're so much smarter than I am, and they're doing these high level experiments, and they've got all this stuff thought out, and they know they've done all the math on this stuff, and you can totally trust these people and what they're talking about. And this is how I used to think. Because I used to underestimate how smart I was pretty significantly before I interacted with too many people in the world. and now I just look at it, I'm like, this is like even more dangerous than most people fathom because of the sheer stupidity of most people. And I've gotten very good at identifying when men are doing this thing where they sound confident, but they actually don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And it's like, oh no.
Oh yeah. Now, have you ever done LSD?
I've never done LSD. I've done mushrooms. I've obviously done ayahuasca, but I've never done LSD. Like I had a very specific principle. I was like, I'm only doing plant medicine. Like LSD is synthetic and all this stuff, and I don't want to, and blah blah blah. And like I'm not like, now I'm kind of like a little bit more lax about it. I'm like, maybe I should do LSD. Maybe I should try it sometime. But like I kind of don't also want to. Like, I mean, I've done all this. Like I don't know. I don't have like a burning desire to try it.
Stick with the mushrooms for real. I mean, I did LSD a long time ago. I've actually done it 3 times, and the last 2 times it just got like lamer and lamer because the person who had it was very old, so it wasn't very powerful anymore. But the first time we had so much fun, but then I got trapped in my head. And there are some people who are like it affects you where you don't just have a nice coming down, like I'm coming down. It's almost it's like paranoia. Yeah. It's really hard to describe, but I felt like I could feel my skull encapsulate my brain. Like I was so, get me out of here. Like I was starting to freak out, and then it hit my spine and I got like a pain in the bottom of my spine because it settled there. Yeah, because that's where it kind of settles. But yeah, that was no fun. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to do this again. But I tried it again anyway, and it was just lame. It was just lame and lame.
See, I haven't done psychedelics in years. I think it's been like maybe like 3 years, because the last time I did mushrooms, I thought I was going to die, and it fucked me up. it fucked me up real bad. And I just like, I've been like, and I even had like really good, like very potent mushrooms. And I just like, I couldn't bring myself to do them because I was like, I just don't want to. So I figure there'll be a time when I'll come around and I'll want to do it again. Like I would like to do an ayahuasca ceremony again if I have the opportunity to, but like I'm not in any hurry. I'm kind of like, okay, if the opportunity presents itself, I'll totally do it. But like, I'm not like, oh my God, I need to do mushrooms again or something.
Good trip. Yeah. I mean, life is kind of strange enough right now. I took a break from it too, because like I told you the story. I think I did die. I actually think I did die during that last trip. And I think I was saved or I switched timelines. I'm not sure. I'm still not sold on the timeline thing, but yeah, that was crazy. It was really bad.
But I don't want to dissuade anyone who's never done like I actually like firmly believe that like the world would be a better place if everyone did psychedelics at least once, or everyone did an ayahuasca ceremony. I really do believe that. I think there's a lot of like if you go into it with purpose and you take it seriously and you're not just like, you know, abusing it or something like that. Like if you're abusing it, it's going to fuck you up. Don't ever abuse psychedelics, because if you abuse psychedelics, you're going to have a bad trip and it's going to be your own damn fault. But if you go into it with like purpose and you like take it seriously, it can be super fun. There's a lot of healing that can happen, I think. A lot of like personal growth, like your perspective changes on things. But like, so I'm not trying to make it seem like it's all bad. I just had a bad trip where I thought I was going to die.
Yeah, I took too many accidentally. I didn't realize what the dose was that I was taking. And like, I do perfectly fine, but I think I just took a little too many. And it was like, no bueno. So, but yeah, I mean, and if you're not experienced with it, do it with someone who is experienced so they can help you. I always set up an environment, got lights everywhere, so there's no darkness, but it's very subtle and sweet. And you're gonna have some munchies, you know, and stuff. But you want to make it a really pleasant experience. I have lots of trip lights, so I like to watch, you know, make patterns on the walls and just have a nice time. And it's a nice little vacation. But yeah, don't just like, I'm going to try mushrooms for the first time and then hurt yourself. Please don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. So I have actually done DMT, and when I did DMT, I flew out of my body up into the sky, and I definitely passed a demon, but I flew right by it and it was fine. It wasn't that big of a deal. So
yeah, trip guide. That's a good one, Brooks. Yeah.
A trip guide?
Love it.
That's not a bad idea, actually.
Brown, I seem to wake up to a new world. The same situations, same people and environment, and yet everything, that is my mental state, my life, had been altered. I can't understand.
Oh, bad trip, man. That's a bad trip.
Get me out of this terrible place! Get me out of here! Help me!
Oh, that poor guy.
Yeah. And you can't get away from it. You start having a bad trip.
Work with hallucinogenic drugs such as mescaline, cannabis, etc.
Yeah,
cannabis is
The
not
CIA and the
hallucinogenic.
Army
cannabis isn't
and other branches of the military all kind of operate as a group with a lot of cross communication. So they developed a series of drugs, one of which is called BZ, which is a kind of super LSD where you go on a trip for about 4 days.
Oh,
in
what?
the mid-70s at
No,
Senate
no,
committee hearings,
no,
the General
no.
Counsel for the Army released a list of about 125 drugs that the Army had tested for mind control.
The Army Chemical Corps next provided the opportunity for exploration of the nervous system with more powerful substances, both in the laboratories and in the field, and for the realization of a strong desire to reversibly reproduce and control derangements at the highest integrative levels, including the mind. A lot of these LSD and other experiments were funded jointly by the CIA, by the Public Health Service, and by the Masons, basically.
The Masons.
Through the Scottish Rite Foundation.
Naturally.
The cutout organizations, the front organizations are called cutouts. The Human Ecology Foundation, which was one of the front organizations through which the CIA funneled money to other investigators who often legitimately didn't know it was CIA money. Well, they were people at obscure institutions like Cornell, McGill, MIT, Johns Hopkins, Columbia, Princeton, Stanford. So these experiments at top secret clearance level were done at basically all the major teaching institutions in the United States.
Other Army experiments continued on mental patients around the country. Work done at the Tulane Medical Center in New Orleans involved several drugs, hallucinogenics, and electrodes implanted in the brain. The chief researcher was Dr. Russell Monroe, now head of the psychiatry department at the University of Maryland. Was this patient aware that she was being given LSD?
Yes, I mean, they were told that they would be given some medications, and they should have
Specifically LSD?
Well, we told them, I don't think that they would have even known what LSD was then at the time. They were told that they were going to
excuse.
They would be given some medication which
real.
might make them feel worse.
I could tell them.
They were looking for
Yeah, we're gonna trick you into taking a mind-altering drug, and it's your fault for not knowing what you're taking. Sincerely, the government.
Right? Oh.
Incapacitating agent, an agent that would not harm the person permanently, but would incapacitate them temporarily. That seemed like a humanistic way to wage a war if war is necessary.
What a douche.
Back in the days when I first came here, there was a famous therapy program that operated in Oak Ridge for over a decade. And this program specifically targeted and tried to help serious mentally disordered offenders, people who'd done very serious and terrible crimes. The goal of the program was to try to help these people understand their own behavior, their own motivations, their own background, in an attempt to try to help them avoid that kind of violent behavior in the future. And it was a very radical program in the sense that it used techniques that had not really ever been tried before. The program, for example, used a lot of what we called in those days defense disrupting therapies. This defense disrupting therapy, for example, would have people involved in these very long-term group therapy sessions. They might last 48 hours with people not sleeping. The idea, of course, here was that by depriving people of sleep for these kinds of periods of time, their defenses and their masks, if you want, would be lowered, and people would be able to reveal and understand each other's deeper inner selves. They also used some defense-disrupting drugs, most famously LSD, but more commonly they used things like scopolamine or even alcohol to try to get this mask or this outer self peeled away so that the participants in the program would be able to more clearly understand themselves and each other. It was quite fascinating to me and to my colleagues that this program had been going on for such a long time, was so highly regarded, and it was still going on when I first came here in the 70s.
The most chilling experiments we have uncovered took place at this Gothic estate called Ravenscrag, halfway up Mount Royal in Montreal. It houses the Allen Memorial Institute of Psychiatry of McGill University. It was here that the CIA funded a series of experiments, severe experiments. The work was done by the Institute's then director, Dr. Ewan Cameron. It is the closest experimentation to brainwashing yet disclosed.
Yeah, real.
His work, unprecedented in psychiatry, consisted of 3 areas which he called sleep therapy, psychic driving, and the ultimate depatterning.
In his psychic driving, so-called type of therapy, he would give the patient intensive electric treatment in order to make the patient regress deeply, become forgetful, and then he would attempt.
I got a super chat. Congrats on the massive W hit piece from Salon. Yeah, I'm gonna frame that one. I'll tell you that. That's definitely that's one for the books right there.
For real.
That's one for the books. It's interesting. I was talking to Victor about this earlier. It's like this isn't the first time I've had a hit piece written on me for that Hitler went to heaven tweet, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But The first time, it was just a completely different circumstance where it was like, it was these people that had been like, I'm firmly convinced that PragerU planted the first one. I'm like allegedly whatever, but I'm firmly convinced that's where it came from. And so like that time they were trying to destroy my work. They were trying to destroy my reputation. Like and it was highly effective in terms of getting me blacklisted from things, stuff like that. And it was a real struggle after that first hit piece.
It was so shitty of him. Yeah.
It was, well, it's exactly what I would expect them to do given, the nature of their organization. But like this time I'm like, I don't even give a fuck. Like, I truly don't care. It's like completely different circumstances. There's nothing these people can do to hurt me. It's like, I'm right, obviously. And so whatever, they can go fuck themselves and write whatever they want.
Yeah. There was a meme today that really spoke to my heart, that said, quit worrying if people like you. They don't. I was like, oh, weight lifted. Okay.
It's like, all right.
I got nothing to prove.
It's like, like, there are so many people in the world. It's like, don't, like, and I know, like, listen, I spend my time fighting with people on the internet because I feel like I have to defend myself sometimes, but it's also kind of like, there's so many people in the world that just go find your fucking people. You don't have to hang out with people who don't like you or put up with bullshit from people who don't like you or anything like that. Just go find your people. There's more than enough.
Oh yeah. If you don't find your tribe where you think they are, just let them come to you. And honestly, just be speaking the truth and being yourself and finding people that appreciate that instead of trying to mold yourself to fit something else. So much more satisfying to have actual real friends that you can be honest with and you don't have to censor yourself and all that stuff.
Yep.
To implant new ideas in the mind of a patient.
Now, to a layman, it would appear that Dr. Cameron was trying to take the slate and wipe it clean, the slate being the mind. In other words, brainwashing.
Exactly, that's a very good comparison.
Brainwashing.
Yes.
The next step was what he called psychic driving. This involved almost endless tape-recorded messages and more drugs for the patient. Cameron wrote that this was the way to make direct control changes in personality.
I love that.
The most severe technique Cameron used was depatterning. He described it as breaking up the existing patterns of behavior by means.
Have we watched Psycho for movie night?
No, we
like
have
the
not.
original Psycho.
No. I don't know if it's on my list. Actually, I'll put it on my list.
It's a classic.
It's
Maybe for like a Halloween. Do you have the Halloween movies picked out that we're gonna do?
Oh, girl, I got them picked out for this year and next year.
Oh, yay! What Halloween movies are we watching, Jennifer?
Let's see. I have. Whoops, I went too far. The original Ghostbusters, An American Werewolf in London, Addams Family 1 and 2 double feature, and Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
I'm gonna let you do your movie night lineup. I'm just saying we could have had a pure horror movie in there. There's no horror movies in there. It's Halloween. There's no horror movies in there.
Oh, you might be right. Well, let me see.
No, there's zero horror movies in Halloween.
An American Werewolf in London.
That's not a horror
movie.
A horror
movie.
No,
yes,
it's not. Jennifer, no, that is in no way, shape, or form. That's a fucking teeny bopper summer fucking flick. That is not a horror movie. Jennifer. Jennifer, do you in it, but arguing? I am a horror movie connoisseur. I fucking love horror movies. American Werewolf in Paris is at best a thriller. It is certainly not a horror movie.
I don't know. I think well, Paris is the sequel, but I think London is a pretty decent horror flick. No. I did have Saw in there and stuff, but I'll tell you why I chose some more light.
No,
yeah,
I demand Saw. I demand Saw during Halloween movie month. You need, Jennifer, like, this is not acceptable. You need to give me.
Oh, here we go.
You never give me anything I want. And
oh my God.
You need to give me at least one actual horror movie during Halloween movie month. Jennifer, I don't feel like I'm asking too much.
Okay.
American Werewolf in Paris is not a horror movie.
Saw was in there, and I forget what the other one was, but I took him out because I was like, I actually had a poll, and I'm like, I don't have time for polls right now. I'm too stacked up.
Everyone no, I am not whining. I'm simply pointing out that there are no horror movies in Halloween movie month, and that Saw is one of the greatest movies
it is
of all time.
I
And
agree
there might
with
be
that.
people in the community who haven't seen Saw. And even if you have seen Saw, you want to see it again because it is a great fucking movie.
I do want to do like a classic Halloween. I can't do it this year. This year, because I don't know what's happening in October. There may even be a Sunday that I need to skip because we're putting our house on the market
All
literally
right.
in a week.
You
So I have to
you
be
tell
easy
me
with things.
what Sunday you need to skip and I'll take it from here. Don't worry about it.
God.
I will control movie night
No
on the
more clowns,
October.
though.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see about that, Jennifer. I will follow my bliss and I will do what I like. There is no better person. I will make people watch Cannibal fucking Holocaust. You think the killer clowns are bad? I will do a Cannibal Holocaust movie night and we'll see who's really like excited then.
Okay, I am moving Ghostbusters because it's the silliest one. Well, actually, it's not the silliest one.
Ghostbusters is not a Halloween movie, and I love
fun.
Ghostbusters. It's a great movie. It's not a Halloween movie.
All right, so we'll switch it up. We'll start with American Werewolf in London. Then we'll do let's see.
See,
can probably do
you
Saw.
know who the real horror movie aficionados are when they know what Cannibal Holocaust is. This is like the shibboleth. And Cannibal Holocaust isn't even like the most gory of all movies, but it's like if you understand Cannibal Holocaust, you understand horror.
You like the B movie horror stuff.
I like all horror movies, but they actually have to be like horror movies. Like I loved Midsommar. Midsommar is Midsommar is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love that movie, but I don't think it's a B movie. Like, but Cannibal Holocaust is definitely a B movie. Yeah,
it sounds like one.
Yeah,
yeah.
We're not watching. No. We don't mention this movie on the channel. No, we are never watching Sallow. No one Google Jennifer. If you don't know, no.
I feel like we've talked about this before.
We have, because I have completely vetoed all mention of Sallow, all playing movies of Sallow. No. Yeah, see, I knew it. Mizakan's always the first one to be like, yeah, let's watch Sallow. And this is how fucked up Mizakan is in the head. And if you don't know what that is, no, Sallow is not a classic. Sallow is the worst movie that's ever been made. It is awful. If I can't get through a fucking movie, come on.
120 Days of Sodom?
No, don't. I said don't Google it, Jennifer. I didn't say Google it. I said don't Google it.
I'm not a delicate flower. I can take it. I love horror movies. Okay, I don't know that I want to see this though.
Okay, why don't you do it? Why don't you do us the pleasure of describing the plot of Sallow since you Googled it? Okay.
It just says, or 120 Days of Sodom is a highly controversial, notoriously graphic 1975 film. Of course, it's Italian because they're brutal, dude. Yeah. Especially the Italian filmmakers that did horror in the 70s. That shit was rough.
Yeah, literal shit in this case. Literal shit.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
It is considered one of the most infamous and disturbing films ever made. Based on an 18th century novel by Marquis. Oh, the Marquis de Sade. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The film updates that explains some of the fuckery then. Updates the setting to the final days of World War II in the Republic of Salò, a fascist puppet state in northern Italy. A plot follows 4 wealthy fascist libertines, a duke, a bishop, a magistrate, and a president who kidnap 18 teenage boys and girls.
Yeah.
Holding their captives in a secluded palace, the fascists subjected them to 120 days of extreme, escalating sexual, mental, and physical torture. I mean, it kind of sounds like MK Ultra.
It's we're never watching Sallow. I veto all playings of Sallow. Sallow will never be shown in my supporter Discord. If you want to torture yourselves by watching that movie, you go right ahead.
I don't think I would enjoy it. No, I don't like torture porn.
No.
I really see, and I don't. That's why I don't watch the what is the movies that Hostel. I don't like Hostel.
See, I fucking love Hostel. I love torture porn, and the more torture porny, the better. I love like Green Inferno. Green Inferno was an homage to Cannibal Holocaust. Cannibal Holocaust is very torture porny.
I saw Green Inferno. I thought it was dumb.
I mean, Saw is an entire like series built off of torture porn. That's what I love that stuff.
God, it's so well done though. It's not just like taking people. It's like has a tension and a purpose and an actual plot. And I just didn't think that.
You know what? I actually just said to Jennifer like a couple weeks ago. I was like, "Have we watched Cube?" Because Cube is a great. It's not a horror movie, but it's a great movie.
You asked me to put that in for your movies in April, so it is in for you for April, so that we wouldn't forget.
Yeah. All right. Well, please work Saw or some
Saw
similar
is
horror
in
movie.
there. I've got
Thank
Saw.
you.
I still want to do Addams Family 1 and 2 double feature
That's
if
fine.
I can, and then Tucker and Dale versus Evil, which I have been
That's
trying
fine.
to show for 3 years, and I'm pulling it now. We're doing it. I love
That's
it.
fine. I'm happy to get one actual horror movie in the month of October, and that's all I can get. So that's
American
fine.
Werewolf in London is a horror.
It's not a
Fine,
fucking horror movie.
fine.
It's a thriller. It's a fucking teenage thriller at best. God.
Of intensive electroshock therapy with prolonged periods of sleep. He carried out these experiments in something he called the sleep rooms. Cameron used this combined sleep electroshock treatment on patients as long as 30 days. One patient he kept asleep for 65 days.
Ewan Cameron at McGill, who was a direct MK Ultra contractor, who basically erased people's memories and identities with massive amounts of electric shock, and then played thousands of times over tape loops to try and build up a new personality. And he was successful in the sense that in documented cases where I have the medical records, a person has complete amnesia for age 25 back to birth, and it was all totally wiped out on contract to either the CIA or the Canadian government on purpose at McGill, in our lifetimes.
9 people sued the CIA for the experimentation done on them in McGill by Ewan Cameron under funding from the CIA, and the CIA settled out of court. Normally, when you do ECT, you push the button and there's a zzz, electricity goes through your brain, and that's it. That's one dose of ECT. In the Page-Russell technique, the button is pushed 6 times. There's 6 times the energy. So this is the equivalent of over 600 electric shock treatments delivered between May and September. And Ewan Cameron published this in mainstream leading journals, and he called it Depatterning. It's totally business as usual, nothing out of the ordinary going on. And it'll say, blood pressure such and such, patient incompetent of stool and feces, patient disoriented times 3, which means she doesn't know who she is, she doesn't know where she is, and she doesn't know what the year is because she's been depatterned. She literally couldn't control her bowels or bladder, didn't know her own name, didn't recognize her husband or her children, wiped out. Because the idea is you're trying to wipe out that old mental illness, and then after you've done the depatterning, you want to create a new personality. And the way we did that was psychic driving. Psychic driving involved playing 2 tape loops for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, either in the doctor's voice or the patient's voice, saying, you love your mother, or you're a good citizen, or whatever it might be. And there would be weeks of barbiturate and other medication-induced sleep. And sometimes he would throw in some hallucinogens. This was just a guy trying to learn how to help patients. Except it was funded by the CIA. Why is the CIA interested in depatterning? Well, when you read the Artichoke and Bluebird documents, they discuss this, they discuss that. One of the topics of discussion is the problem of disposal of subjects. And then they discuss in there, what are we going to do with these people? How are we going to get rid of them? And we can't just kill them all. But one thing we can do is wipe out their memories. So this was obviously contracted to figure out how to wipe out people's memories. And why an intelligence agency would be interested in that is extremely obvious. Ewan Cameron was at various times head of the Quebec Psychiatric Association, the Canadian Psychiatric Association, the World Psychiatric Association, of which he was one of the co-founders, and the Society for Biological Psychiatry. The Society for Biological Psychiatry held numerous meetings and conferences and published the proceedings with and without direct funding by the CIA.
Ewan Cameron, who was a civilian psychiatrist, very politically involved in world psychiatry, became part of the US team that went over to Nuremberg and interrogated the Nazi doctors. While he was over there, he heard about uses of mescaline and hallucinogens in the death camps. Then he came back and did hallucinogen experiments in Montreal. So he literally learned about that from the Nazi doctors.
All these guys look just
also,
disturbed.
the Nuremberg trials, as we know, gave rise to the Nuremberg Code.
All those doctors, they just look disturbed. Like there's this darkness behind their eyes that this, like they're, I don't even know how to describe it psychically. It's like they're studying you as if you were a different species. You aren't human. you know, and they just have this evil vibe. It's really freaky.
I mean, I think this stuff definitely does probably take a spiritual toll in the same way that, like, anytime I go undercover with, like, the left, it always takes some sort of spiritual toll. Like, it actually always, like, fucks me up. Or, like, if I'm watching, like, a 4-day socialism, even if it's online, if I'm watching, like, a multi-day socialism conference and I'm just, like, consuming that much content, it, like, actually fucks me up. And so I can imagine, like, this, like, if you're performing these psychological experiments on people and you are in this environment all day, every day, I can't imagine that wouldn't mess with you.
Yeah, well, and I'm sure it started just as he was probably already had issues, you know, like
Well, why are
maybe
you gonna be attracted to a job like this?
exactly. So, and then it started a little bit, and then you just want to learn more, and you turn it up more. It's like developing a callus to something, and you just get more and more. You just take on darker, bigger, worse things, and it doesn't bother you as much, you know, desensitizing so to speak.
Which is basically an updating of the Hippocratic Oath, saying that subjects have to give informed consent, they have to be protected, they have to know the nature of the research, it can't be excessively harmful, and so on. But his own experiments violated all of those principles.
And now what we're talking about is not the bad stuff, the mild stuff that they declassified. This is the tip of the iceberg.
The ultimate goal of these projects is just your basic interrogation. We want to extract information from people, and then on top of that, we might want to induce amnesia for the whole interrogation. Or offensively, we want to have people who, if they're captured and they're interrogated, they won't confess because the information is all hidden behind an amnesia barrier.
1932 to 1972, the Tuskegee syphilis study, and the study was basically 400 black, illiterate guys in rural Alabama with syphilis were actively denied treatment for 40 years of follow-up.
Wow.
At the 25-year point of the study, the Surgeon General of the United States signed a certificate. They all got a signed certificate and $25, 1 year for every year of participation in the study.
Oh my God.
400 guys for 40 years engaged in how many acts of intercourse?
Yeah.
And fathered how many children with congenital syphilis? None of which could be identified or treated.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally Nazi death camp level ethical violations.
Pedophiles will commonly tell, if it's the person's daughter, this is our special secret, this is how daddies show love. It's so special we shouldn't talk about it. But actually, of course, they know perfectly well that it's a crime and they don't want to get caught. So it's the same thing with the CIA doctors. They know that it's so outrageous to say, hi, I'm being funded by the CIA. They're trying to figure out how to interrogate people and wipe out memories. Would you mind participating in an experiment where I can help teach the CIA how to do that? It'll never get approved by the ethics committee. No patient will ever consent to it. So they have to consciously, deliberately cover it up.
The effort to cover it up is just kind of saying how it's a funny coincidence, reporting it in the mainstream media. Everybody kind of goes, well, that's good, what's on TV tonight? And it just kind of passes by. And that's kind of the way the cover-up of all this mind control experimentation worked. It's not that it didn't happen, it was published in all these mainstream journals. And at the bottom of the papers, it often says, funded by Department of the Army, funded by U.S. Office of Naval Research, funded by Air Force Office of Scientific Research. It never says funded by the Central Intelligence Agency. But we know that just from reading the journals that it's military funded at a minimum. And I think that the mainstream media is just more and more and more and more of a propaganda arm and less independent all the time. 80% in Gallup surveys, 80% of people in the United States do not believe that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. So only 20% of people have bought that story. I mean, we just live in a whole culture of fake stories. A woman comes to the emergency department claiming that her boss at her university made her sit in a room entirely lined with leaves and gave her a bunch of LSD, and she's had a bad trip and now she's in the emergency department. This is the Ames Leaf Room, called the Ames Leaf Room because it was designed by Dr. Ames on contract to the Office of Naval Research. It's basically a box that's got leaves glued to all the walls, and it's open at this end. You can look into it. The subject is sitting in the Ames Leaf Room, And he's got 2 knobs that he can move to adjust that white bar that's at the far end of the room. And he's got it adjusted so it appears to be perfectly horizontal to him. While he's in the Ames Leaf room, he's wearing these goggles that have special lenses called anisoconic lenses that distort all the angles so that nothing seems to meet up properly. It's all out of perspective, doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And he's high on LSD.
Oh,
God.
Funded by the Air Force.
Bro.
So as a result of this experimentation, Dr. Marazzi was able to determine that if you sit in a leaf room wearing lenses and you're high on LSD, you can't see straight. This is incarcerated sex offenders are the experimental subjects here. The psychiatrists involved are
never underestimate how stupid these people are. It's the lesson I've learned being a public person on the internet. Never, ever, and interacting with people in the government, no less. Never underestimate, even if they seem like they're smart, even if they talk confidently, never underestimate how fucking stupid these people are.
It almost feels like that he did that whole thing just to torture people and get off on it.
Yeah.
To write that as a conclusion, something so trite.
Yeah, you can't see straight when you're wearing these lately. This thing where you has all these weird angles, and you're on LSD. No shit, Sherlock.
Thanks, Captain Obvious. Yeah.
former military psychiatrists, documented fact, and they're cleared at top secret under the MK Ultra contract. And what they do is they give these guys LSD, marijuana, barbiturates, and they interview them, aka interrogate them. And the purpose of the project is to try and get them to confess to sex crimes that they've never been charged with.
What?
And the purpose of that is because you want to see if you can give this concoction of different techniques to an enemy agent or some person of interest. Will they confess to something that they wouldn't otherwise have confessed to?
Intelligence is nothing really other than information and knowledge.
No, that's not true.
The days of Socrates, by various methods, and even before that, mankind has been seeking knowledge of everything that influences his own life.
Go ahead.
Wouldn't you agree that it's not just knowing things that make you intelligent? It actually is how you process the information and what you do with it.
Yes.
It's not like, oh, I know stuff, that means I'm intelligent. No.
No, it's how fast you can process information, how well you can do pattern recognition. Like, you have to know stuff too. You have to be able to, like, you know, be able to retain. You have to be able to retain information. Because if you read a book but you don't retain the information in the book, you're not going to be intelligent about it. But like, you also have to be able to put the information together. You have to be able to think in abstract ways.
Yeah, there's levels to it. This guy just oversimplified it and insulted everybody. What a dick.
Well, again, this is a man that is acting confident when in fact he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah, true.
Or the life of the nation to which he belongs. But the idea that it is necessarily nefarious, it's always engaged in overthrowing governments, that's false. At no time has the CIA engaged in any political activity or any intelligence activity. It was not approved at the highest level. The KGB is one of the most sinister organizations that ever was organized.
Do we have an application of morality in our activities they don't?
Oh, far more than they do, yes.
Could you talk on that subject?
Well, only that, as far as I know, we don't engage in assassinations and kidnappings and things of that kind. As far as I know, we never have.
As far as
we know, they have and done it quite consistently. Given the caliber of the men and women I had working for me, I didn't want to ask them to do a thing that I wouldn't do.
In my position in the CIA, I had a chance to know of and remotely to observe many operations. And I will not deny that there were occasions when the Americans involved in these, as it were, out on the front, had, as people do in wartime, to undertake actions that were contrary to their moral precepts. You can't take on operations of this, covert operations, or covert for that matter, of this scope, draw narrow boundaries of policy around them and be absolutely sure that those boundaries will never be overstepped.
I can assure you that the CIA, when I was there as director, and I'm quite sure it's the same with Mr. McCone, has given these committees full information about what it's doing, how it's spending its money, and how it operates.
We've had some statements from those who are supposed to receive this testimony that they really don't know and don't want to know what the CIA is doing.
When I appeared before them again and again, I've been stopped by members of the Congress and said, we don't want to hear about that. We might talk in our sleep. Don't tell us this.
What were they looking for with the magic mushrooms?
I think the best answer to that is that they were looking for fundamental information on compounds that would be capable of causing changes in behavior, changes in mental attitude.
Did you ever consider what would have happened if any of these substances were given to, say, unwitting people?
Oh, I don't remember having considered that specifically.
What if you... I trust perhaps you've thought about it.
Well, I haven't worried about it. I guess I must seem very cold-blooded about this, but I don't recall ever having been very much preoccupied with that issue.
The best-known case is that of this man, Frank Olson, a chemist employed by the Army Chemical Corps, who in 1953 was slipped LSD unknowingly at a meeting with CIA officials. Shortly after that, Olson went into severe depression. He ended his life at this New York hotel by diving through a shaded closed window in his 10th floor room.
You saw a video on this?
Yeah, I was like looking at this. I'm looking at the time, and I'm like, we got a little time. And I found, I don't know if you know the channel, the Y-Files. They're like one of my faves. They're hilarious. They're great. But he's got the Frank Olson assassination, the CIA murder that exposed MK Ultra, and then he's got a 40-minute one on. Well, no, okay. The deep dive's an hour. I don't know if we have time for that.
No,
That's up to you.
Let's not do that. But I'll watch
the little one. Is
video.
There's here to Subliminal Warfare, Mind Controlled Invisible Influences, and that one's about 40 minutes.
All right, pop it in the chat. We can watch that. I gotta go pee though. I'll be right back. Okay.
Okay.
Frank Olson was the first known fatality in the CIA's LSD program.
Frank Olson was working at Fort Detrick, which is the basically chemical warfare center of the Army, where Amedeo Marazzi worked, who was the Ames leaf room guy. And he was directly involved in LSD and other experiments. It looks like he was just about on the edge of becoming a whistleblower. And so he went to a party attended by Sidney Gottlieb, who was the head of MK Ultra, who ran MK Ultra, where he was slipped a dose of LSD and some Cointreau liqueur, went on a bad trip, came home, was all bent out of shape, was taken to see this guy Lashbrook, who's an allergist in Washington, who just happens to be CIA contractor and LSD expert on the side. And they try and kind of help him out. And then he jumps out the window of the Statler Hotel from the 10th or 12th floor, dies. But actually, it's entirely a cover story. It's almost virtually for certain he was pushed. Frank Olson's family read this, said, wait a minute, that's our dad. We didn't know this is tied into LSD experimentation. They got on the government, and Carter personally met with them and gave them like $750,000 settlement.
Frank Olson's suicide slowed down the CIA's testing of LSD and other drugs, but only momentarily. The CIA was not the only government agency interested in the possibilities LSD and other drugs presented for mind control. The Army Chemical Corps first started working with the CIA and then branched off on its own. It too tested drugs on unwitting victims, and a death would result. The case of this man, Harold Blower, a tennis pro, seen here with his daughter Elizabeth, is well known. In 1953, Blower was a private patient at the New York State Psychiatric Institute. He was given 5 injections of a mescaline derivative that was being tested secretly for the Army Chemical Corps. With the 5th injection, Harold Blower died. As with the Olson case, a 22-year cover-up followed, until finally the Army admitted the real details of Blauer's death. Thornwell was an army private stationed in Orléans, France. Classified documents were missing from his unit. Thornwell became a suspect. His 2.5-month interrogation included administration of sodium pentothal, hypnosis, isolation, and deprivation of sleep.
Yikes.
Despite this severe questioning, Army intelligence was getting nowhere with Thornwell, and it was decided to slip him LSD. For 16 years, Thornwell never knew what had hit him.
Tell me about the acid.
I'd rather not. It's a bad trip. It's a bad trip. That was a bad trip. The pain was so excruciating. Felt like somebody was sticking me with 1,000,000 pins. You know, just everywhere. Oh, it just...
How do you come back like that?
From the Army's point of view, this type of LSD interrogation was a success. Other documents refer to the exploitability of interrogation subjects, cracking them, keeping them off balance mentally, and providing an economical, speedy, and productive aid to interrogation. This bizarre man would be an active participant in that search over the next 2 decades. His name is George White, an OSS captain who had formerly been with the Bureau of Narcotics. He received his early OSS training at the British-run school at Oshawa, Canada, the same school where Ian Fleming, the creator of James Bond, was trained. White referred to the school in his diaries as the Oshawa School of Mayhem and Murder. George White worked with the Truth Drug Committee here at St. Elizabeth's Hospital in the nation's capital. They experimented with mescaline, scopolamine, and marijuana on unwitting victims. The committee soon learned there was no easy panacea, no truth drug at this stage. But White and later colleagues would not stop trying. The goal remained the same. As this 1952 CIA memo says, the aim is controlling an individual to the point where he will do our bidding against his will, and even against such fundamental laws of nature as self-preservation.
Wow.
White set up so-called safe houses for the CIA in New York, here in Greenwich Village, and later in San Francisco, in this hotel, and in an apartment atop Telegraph Hill with a commanding view of San Francisco Bay. While the existence of these safe houses was disclosed last year, details of what took place within them has not been told. A former CIA official who worked in the safe houses reveals that they were used not only for drug testing, but to study sexual behavior and how it could be used to manipulate people.
George White hired prostitutes to go to bars and pick guys up, bring them back to the safe house, have sex with them and slip them LSD without their knowing it. And the CIA guys would make scientific observations of this through the one-way mirror. And it says in the documents, the purpose of this is to study the effects of an unwitting dose of LSD under conditions that mimic a field interrogation. Just down at the bottom, it says, it's a lot more difficult than you would think to create these Jekyll-Hyde personalities. So Jekyll-Hyde personalities equals multiple personality equals the Manchurian candidate. So why is there a comment about the difficulty of creating Jekyll-Hyde personalities when there's only one contact with each of the Johns? He has sex and he gives LSD. You can't possibly be creating a new identity in that guy. So the only possible person you could be creating a new identity in is the prostitute. These are Manchurian candidate prostitutes who were being run through simulations to see whether they could turn a trick and attempt to extract information from the guy, and maybe LSD would help with that. These are unwitting civilians, haven't given informed consent, don't know they're getting LSD, and there's no follow-up. How did they go off the rails? Did they have fun? Did they go home? What happened? No idea whatsoever. Absolute and total violation of medical ethics. And there's doctors under MK Ultra and MK Search directly involved in this experimentation.
In terms of the Manchurian candidate, the idea is to use hypnosis, drugs, fear, terror to split off part of the mind. And then you can get control of that part of the mind separately, and that part of the mind can carry out missions. You could use sexual torture, You could use witnessing torture of others. You could use physical torture, mental torture. There's really no limit to it. Louis Jolyon West is known as Jolly West because he was a very jolly guy, I assume. Top secret cleared MK Ultra contractor. One of his greatest accomplishments was killing an elephant at Oklahoma City Zoo with a dose of LSD. Louis Jolyon West, Martin Orne, Margaret Singer, and Robert Lifton were expert witnesses at the Patty Hearst trial. She's in her apartment with her boyfriend Stephen Weed when the Symbionese Liberation Army storms in, guns literally blazing, there's gunfire. Her boyfriend Stephen Weed's knocked out with a rifle butt. She's put in the trunk of the car, taken away to the Symbionese Liberation Army safe house, where she's kept in a closet for 45 days. There's mock FBI raids during which she thinks she'll be killed at any time. She's raped in the closet, extreme sensory deprivation, sensory isolation. She then subsequently participates in a bank robbery under the name of Tanya and is photographed during the bank robbery. There was a murder in Dallas, so they called him in to examine the murderer, whose name was Jack Ruby. A flash forward to the 1995s, Timothy McVeigh's arrested for the Oklahoma City bombing, taken to Tinker Air Force Base, where he alleges that a computer chip was removed from his buttocks, and a psychiatrist has brought in Louis Jolyon West. He was involved in the UCLA Violence Project, which was actually approved by Ronald Reagan when he was the governor of California, but shut down by public protest before it actually became operational. And they were going to take sex offenders, put electrodes in their brain, and there would be both a tracking electrode and an immobilization electrode, basically. So they would track these guys when they were released from prison. If they went outside a restricted area, a signal would be sent to their brain, immobilizing them, and the police would come pick them up. Going back to the 50s,
that's like pre-crime.
In the CIA military documents, and also in the general psychiatric and medical literature, there's very clear descriptions of putting electrodes in people's brains and then stimulating those electrodes with radio waves from a remote transmitter box and controlling the person's behavior, dramatic changes in behavior and mental state. Now we're at brain electrode experiments at Tulane. Robert Heath, what he did is he put electrodes in this gay guy's brain, who was 19 years old, and he studied his brain electrical activity, and then he hooked him up to a little belt. So I've got a little belt here. On his belt, he had a button in a box, and he could push the button because the wire went from the box to the electrode into his brain and bring himself to a kind of a pre-orgasmic state. So they had to take the box away from him because he pushed the button 1,500 times in 3 hours. They had him watch heterosexual pornography over and over and over and over while in a pre-orgasmic state to try and condition him to become straight. Jose Delgado.
Talk about though, look how classy porn used to be.
I know, right?
Look how classy porn used to be. They don't make porn like this anymore.
No, certainly not. But did you hear that they're making him watch straight porn to condition him from being gay?
Yeah.
But 1,500 times in 3 hours. Men.
While in a pre-orgasmic state to try and condition him to become straight. Jose Delgado, you can actually find him on YouTube. You can see the video where he's in the bull ring with the bull that comes charging at him. The bull's got electrodes in his brain. He pushes the box and the bull just goes over there.
Neurophysicist Dr. Jose Delgado was financed by the Office of Naval Research. In this experiment, the bull is sedated. Electrodes are implanted in its brain. Delgado transmits an electronic impulse to the center of the bull's brain. Delgado has remote control of the animal. Recently released CIA documents refer to the feasibility of remote control of animals, and that special investigations will be conducted toward the application of selected elements of these techniques to man.
This is his book,
I don't like that.
Physical Control of the Mind. We need a program of psychosurgery and political control of our society. The purpose is physical control of the mind. Everyone who deviates from the given norm can be surgically mutilated. Man does not have the right to develop his own mind. This kind of liberal orientation has great appeal. We must electrically control the brain. Someday, armies and generals will be controlled by electrical stimulation of the brain. This is a Yale professor of neurosurgery. He literally wanted electrodes in every brain in the population. The controlling elite would be so small, even the generals would have electrodes in their brains.
No doubt, like everything else, it's become more miniaturized, more computer sophisticated, and probably can be controlled from satellites now, I would assume. There's documents going again back into the 50s under MKUltra showing using either sound waves or electromagnetic waves that you can knock monkeys out, knock human beings out, make them disoriented.
Unwitting civilians have been exposed to hypnosis, LSD, chemical, biological, and radiological weapons. We know that these non-lethal weapons exist, that they can affect your mental state, your behavior, they can cause pain, they can cause confusion, they can knock you out. What are the odds that those weapons have never been tested on unwitting civilians? I say zero.
On the one hand, it's sort of, you can't do anything is the problem, because if somebody's beaming, this electromagnetic weapons at you from a satellite or from an aircraft, how are you going to know it's happening? How are you going to prove it's happening? And how are you ever going to get them to stop? It's impossible. On the other hand, I think that by far the best way to protect freedom and democracy is think critically, don't buy everything, research it, and be aware that you're subject to an awful lot of propaganda.
We lack the trained men who would be able to plan and implement operations in an area we think is vitally important. Because of this, we are also requesting that your team of advisors include a senior officer who is thoroughly experienced in psychological operations.
The PSYOP tools are radio, television, leaflets, newspapers, loudspeakers, and face-to-face communication. PSYOP is now a major weapon in 20th century warfare.
I say that mind control is kind of at two levels. There's general mind control, which would include propaganda, disinformation, spinning things in the media and so on. The level of mind control I'm interested in, I call psychiatric mind control, where there's an actual doctor in a one-to-one relationship with the person. And I'm interested in that because it's a gigantic violation of professional ethics. So at Abu Ghraib and at Guantanamo Bay, we've got psychiatric level mind control going on.
We see it very clearly in the light of day in both Abu Ghraib and Guantanamo Bay, where all the components of Bluebird, Artichoke, MKUltra are still in operation currently. Sensory deprivation, sensory isolation, hooding, doing frightening mock killings, good cop, bad cop interrogations, waterboarding, sexual humiliation, cultural humiliation, electric shocks. All these things are being used for a fact currently. Trauma-based mind control is, the basic idea is, part of the interrogation technique is you frighten the person tremendously. And this happens and is reported by people who are captured in the Middle East and held. It also goes on at Guantanamo Bay.
And listen, I know those people are not good people and like whatever, but it's just like, it's sad for me to watch that. It's just like, ugh.
Yeah, I don't like dehumanization. I don't care we should be better than that.
Mm-hmm.
Punish them for their crimes, but don't turn into a monster. That's awful.
Yep.
Where you threaten them with death, you're going to execute them now, you take them out to be shot, but the guns never go off.
There's behavioral science consultation teams at Guantanamo Bay that are psychologists who go in there and run the interrogation programs, run the psychological part of it. And there's physicians consulting to this because you don't want to push the guy, unless you do want him to die, you don't want to push him too far because he might die. And the techniques that we know are used are hooding, sitting in very stressful positions like crouched down against the wall for prolonged periods, sensory deprivation, sensory isolation, some degree of beatings, waterboarding. We know that there's sexual humiliation, there's humiliating their culture, the Quran and their religious beliefs. There's forcing them to do sexual acts with each other. Female military officers come in and come on to them sexually, aggravate them sexually. these are the techniques of mind control. There's not just one thing that you do. I've heard many people say they were in Monarch, and I filed Freedom of Information Act requests with all the branches of the military, Defense Intelligence Agency, CIA, and all of them said they had nothing on Project Monarch.
I've met both Mark Phillips and Kathy O'Brien, and they're both extremely pleasant people. They seem very genuine. I don't think they're making things up. It's not some kind of a publicity scam at all.
Wow.
Whether every single detail of her story is actually historically accurate, I'd say somewhat doubtful.
All right. That was a terrifying documentary there, Jennifer, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, well, I thought we could round out the week with some more awful things.
Yeah, it's really great. See, this is what this is the type of stuff I want to see in Halloween movie month. No offense to the Addams Family. The Addams Family is a fine movie, but like this is the type of thing I want to see in Halloween movie month. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, fine, yeah.
All right.
I'm just trying to keep it light because like I'm already feeling traumatized by my present reality. So I just want
this is some light watching. Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, so we're gonna watch one more video, and this is called Subliminal Warfare, Mind Control, and Invisible Influence.
Yeah, and this is the Y Files. It's a really fun site for all of us tinfoil hat wearers. It's well presented. It's very fun and well written. But he probably will go into like an in film commercial. He does his own little commercials. It's right in the beginning usually, and then you can easily find how to just skip it.
All right, cool.
This episode of the Y Files is brought to you in response. The coalition's 2,000 daily air attacks had crippled Iraq's defenses.
There we go. Skip ahead.
What
are you wearing?
Skip ahead. Oh wait.
Just start at the beginning, and when he goes into the commercial, we can. He'll do his intro.
There was an intelligence.
Okay, hang on.
This episode of the Y Files is brought to you by Ground News.
Oh, we just let it play.
Yeah.
Saddam Hussein met with his generals in Basra on January 27, 1991.
Okay.
He was pacing back and forth, and he was furious. 6 months earlier, Iraq had invaded Kuwait, and the world responded with a relentless shock and awe campaign. The coalition's 2,000 daily air attacks had crippled Iraq's defenses and destroyed its air force. Hussein's plan to draw coalition troops into a costly ground war had backfired. Instead, Iraqi soldiers were surrendering by the thousands. These were battle-tested troops in one of the world's largest armies, laying down weapons without firing a single shot. It was maddening. An officer handed Hussein a report about a radio transmitter in Khafji, Saudi Arabia. He dismissed it as Western propaganda, but his officer asked him to keep reading. There was an intelligence document attached. It said the FM transmitter in Khafji was broadcasting subliminal messages that were making Iraqi troops surrender using mind control. Hussein ordered the tower destroyed within 3 days. His officers pushed back. The town was lightly guarded for now, but taking it would be a suicide mission without air support. They didn't even know if this mind control weapon was real. It could be another American lie. Hussein stopped pacing. 3 days, he said. His tone left no room for discussion. Major General Salah Mahmoud saluted, took a deep breath, and reached for the phone.
Uh-oh.
Human. What are you wearing?
Never mind this. Wait, what are you wearing?
What, this? This is my portable UFO detection kit. Just like the one the Pentagon's developing. I don't trust them, so I gotta make my own.
Well, that seems a little...
commercial?
Yeah, this is
well, that wasn't the word I was going to use.
It's my baby. Christmas.
Action kit is going to work.
You know what? At least he's creative. At least
It's
he's
very
creative.
cute.
I'll give him that.
Oh, that's just needed to...
Up with
I
the
didn't even know this was
side,
a
the
commercial.
point of
Oh, well done.
that gathers related platform,
Okay.
salient, a
I think there's a little
collection
dot
of new
indicator
foreign
on the
governments,
slider there.
including Russia,
There you
All
go.
right. I'm a professional. I know how streaming works. Okay.
Marine Corporal Jesse Colvin was at Observation Post 4 scanning the dark horizon. OP4 was on top of the police station in Khafji, a small town in Saudi Arabia. Colvin wasn't expecting to see much. The coalition had air supremacy. If Saddam Hussein did so much as toss a paper plane from a window, there'd be F-15s on top of it before it reached the ground. Still, Iraq had plenty of ground forces in the field, and the Saudis asked the U.S. for support. It was about 2,000 hours.
8 p.m.
Yes, thank you.
No problem.
It was about 8 o'clock, and it was a quiet night. Colvin only heard the wind coming off the Gulf and the occasional crackle of the radio. Then Colvin heard a rumble that, at first, he thought was thunder. He aimed his night vision binoculars north. Tanks. And troops. He couldn't believe it. It took him a second to process, and then he grabbed his radio.
Contact, enemy armor sighted. Multiple vehicles approaching from the north, over.
Colvin didn't get a response.
Repeat, contact, enemy armor approaching from the north, over.
Still no response. The radios worked earlier, so Colvin assumed the radios were being jammed. He grabbed his M16 and headed downstairs. His unit wasn't prepared for an attack of this size. 90 minutes later, air support arrived, but it was too late. The Iraqi army took the city. Whether they could hold it or not didn't really matter. They accomplished their mission. They brought down the FM radio transmitter. The Marines at Khafji thought this attack was crazy, and they weren't prepared for such a large offensive. Of course, they had no idea what they were guarding. Iraqi intelligence was right. The United States had deployed a subliminal weapon. Can humans be controlled subliminally? The answer, of course, is a big yes. And you won't be surprised to know that advertisers were the first to jump on this new technology.
For your convenience, we have an attractive refreshment stand in the lobby. With buttered popcorn, golden good and hot from the popper, your favorite candies, wholesome and rich with a flavor treat for every taste, ice cream and other good things to eat.
For 6 weeks in 1957, families in New Jersey went to the movies, had a fun night out, and went home. Totally normal. They had no idea they were exposed to what was later called a startling kind of invisible advertising. A mechanism had been attached to the film projector. It flashed messages on the screen every 5 seconds. Each message only appeared for 1/3000th of a second, too fast to be seen by the human eye. But that was the point. The goal was to have these messages bypass the conscious brain and register directly in the subconscious. 1,400 times over the course of 2 hours, the audience saw, well, their subconscious mind saw calls to action like eat more popcorn. Over 45,000 movie patrons were exposed without their consent or knowledge, and popcorn sales jumped 58%.
Crazy.
Ad agencies went into overdrive, and new companies were launched in the subliminal space.
Jeez.
Radio stations WAAF in Chicago and WCCO in Minneapolis tested subliminal ads to see if they increased sales. They did.
Jeez.
American television networks implemented the technology into their broadcasts. It worked.
Jeez.
What are you doing?
What? Me? Nothing.
Whispering raise is not going to make me give you a raise.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But when the public learned that they were being manipulated without their knowledge or consent, there was a huge backlash. The Hollywood Reporter called it an obscene violation. The LA Times and Washington Post flat out called it brainwashing. Within a year, theaters, radio, and television broadcasters banned subliminal advertising. Now, of course, banning flashing images wouldn't stop consumers from being unconsciously manipulated. No one realized it was already happening, and it was very successful.
Jeez.
You stepped on my cliffhanger even after I told you to stop?
Well, I'm busting my hump in this bowl, and I think I deserve a little more scratch.
Well, if you want
I
to
see the number of
then maybe
views
you
we
earn
get.
it. You
My
don't just
salary's
jump in and
only
ruin the
budged
best
like
part of the
3
scene.
Did you notice he has a tinfoil hat on his bowl?
Yeah.
It's so cute.
In the late 19th century, Sigmund Freud popularized the idea we are motivated by our unconscious. Unconscious motivation is used in product marketing all the time because it works. Marketing expert Ernest Dichter used a Freudian technique, word association, to test consumers. He wanted to know not what they bought, but why. He learned that moms bought candy for their kids as a reward for good behavior in the grocery store. So he had stores move candy right next to the cash registers. They're still there today.
Yep.
Sanka was a decaffeinated coffee brand that attacked regular coffee in its ads. But consumers love coffee and felt Sanka was insulting coffee drinkers. So instead of attacking regular coffee, Sanka changed its slogan to, "Now you can drink all the coffee you want."
And you can drink it as strong as you like. Drink 5, 10 cups a day, as many as you like, at any time you like. That's for sure.
Sales went through the roof.
Go ahead.
There was I can't remember the name of the brand, but they were these little like sort of rectangular tins, and they had all different kinds of flavors. I want to say it was Swiss something. I can't remember, but it was instant coffee.
I know what you're
flavor.
talking about. I never liked instant coffee. I occasionally used it to cook like other things that weren't coffee, but like I could never get on board with instant coffee if I'm honest about it.
Just something about it. I just loved those. I just loved those coffees. They were so yummy. But now I'm in a like real. I don't even think is there instant coffee? Is it even still around?
I'm sure it's got to be around somewhere.
Was it Swiss? No, Swiss Miss was hot chocolate.
Cocoa. Yeah.
Yeah. There was some. But anyway, yeah.
Bill Friedman was a gambling addict who used his experience to shape how most casinos are laid out. Now, once you're in, you can't see any exits. You can't see any clocks. You can't see outside at all. These tactics disrupt our sense of time.
You never go to
There is constant noise, even if the floor is mostly empty. This is designed to keep you in a heightened state so you don't get tired. Most casinos offer players free alcohol. This reduces inhibitions.
Yep.
And after all those free drinks, you need to use the restroom. But you have to weave your way through slot machines to get there.
Yeah, that's why I keep my own restroom right here. What?
Why aren't you moving? You're going right now, aren't you?
What? No, mind your business.
Gross.
What? I wash my fins.
In a casino, there's no direct route to anywhere, especially an exit. Now, a lot of this is common knowledge. It's slippery, but not dishonest. Like changing a slogan or laying out a casino, it's out in the open. Edward Bernays was a pioneer in public relations and propaganda. He used tactics that were not out in the open. He manipulated public opinion in ways that were entirely unconscious. It makes sense Bernays was good at talking to the subconscious. He was Sigmund Freud's nephew.
Whether it's to sell more paper cups that we worked with, or to make people more honest or more virtuous, depends on public consent. And so we worked out the engineering of consent.
His first campaign was in 1929. He influenced the entire nation without their knowledge. He was so good, he influenced you, and you never knew it. New York City, April 1st, 1929. It was noon on Fifth Avenue, and the Easter Parade was packed, one of the best attended in history. The event signaled the beginning of a new modern era. The cars were new, fashion was cutting edge, and cameras filmed the parade for the first time. A group of young women used this as an opportunity to put on an outrageous display. Something unthinkable, something women have never done in public.
Yo, baby, we're getting spicy. Bow, chicka, bow, bow.
The women strolled along the parade, smoking cigarettes.
Oh, they smoked after the outrageous display, huh? What did they do? Was there leather involved? Oh, please tell me there was leather.
No, smoking was the outrageous display.
Oh, well, that's disappointing.
No more
And what is it with you and leather?
Don't kink shame.
Okay, never mind.
Bow, chicka, bow, bow.
In 1929, women smoking in public was unacceptable. It just wasn't done. But these ladies didn't care about tradition. They wanted the freedom and equality to smoke in public, just like men. So they did. Suddenly, cigarettes were called torches of freedom, and the demand for cigarettes among women exploded. Women saw cigarettes as symbols of independence and freedom.
Yeah.
They had no idea the whole thing was
too
staged.
sexy.
Those weren't rebellious women.
What's that?
I think it was considered too sexy for a woman to put something between her lips and hold it.
Well, God forbid.
Yeah, so with that, putting a cigarette in your mouth was like, oh, like showing your ankles, you know. But then times changed.
Like showing your ankles.
Fighting for equality, they were actresses hired to play a part. Edward Bernays orchestrated the whole scene for his client, the American Tobacco Company.
Mm-hmm.
Bernays was so good at manipulating consumers, he's affecting you to this day. Up until the 1920s, Americans ate a light breakfast: toast, juice, coffee, that was it. This was especially true for what they called brain workers, folks who sat in offices all day. Then in August 1922, an article appeared in the New York Times.
Sometimes health advice is pleasant, requiring no work, no self-denial. An interesting sample is offered in the Medical Review of Reviews. He queried doctors in 46 states. 3 out of 4 physicians advise eating a hearty breakfast of
It's
bacon
always
and
3
eggs.
out of 4.
Yeah.
Articles like this were all over the country. Doctors suggesting bacon and eggs for breakfast? This was a new and decadent idea. People loved it. Only there was no science behind the claims. No study. The whole thing was propaganda coordinated by Edward Bernays. The Beechnut Packing Company wanted to increase bacon sales. So Bernays surveyed 5,000 doctors and asked them if a heavy breakfast was better than a light breakfast. He published the results, making sure bacon and eggs were mentioned every time doctors described the ideal breakfast. Doctors that didn't think bacon was a good idea, well, they got no ink. Bacon sales exploded, and American culture changed forever. To this day, 70% of all bacon is eaten for breakfast.
Though it can be enjoyed at any time of day for any occasion.
I can't deny that.
True. Bacon is everything.
Nature's candy.
Bernays proved he could influence the behavior of an entire country.
Listen, Amalek. I don't know what that has to do with anything, okay? We are on YouTube and we respect Jews on this YouTube channel and we appreciate them, and the Holocaust happened exactly like you know they taught us and all that stuff. And I don't know why this is even relevant. I don't know why you're bringing this up. Always got to be causing problems. Jennifer, do you have anything you want to add? Jennifer, did you ever finish your Europa, by the way?
No, I haven't. I've had people in my house every day for working on our landscaping, and now we're painting. So no, I have not, but that I will get back into it. I actually pulled it up the other day, and I am in hour 8. And
you're in hour 8 of Europa?
Yeah,
We're getting
and
there.
I started listening to. Oh, sorry, what?
No, we're getting there. We're making progress. It's okay.
I started listening to it, and I was just like.
You know, so for people who don't know, we are introducing Jennifer to the Jewish question, obviously because we're completely debunking it and it's all false. But Jennifer is making her way through Europa, and you know everyone knows who has been through this experience. It's a deeply traumatic time to hear all the horrible, awful things that are said about the Jews, because the Jews are, of course, the poor victims of the world, and they do nothing wrong. And they've been kicked out of 109 countries for no reason, and they're always the victims, and everyone else is being unreasonable. But we're introducing Jennifer to the sad, sordid history, and you know, you all know it can be a little traumatic.
I think that, well, I'll maintain my position in that it's not the people I don't like, it's the leadership.
Yeah, obviously, we're never saying all Jews. We're saying some Jews, obviously.
Well, just like any leadership, it gets corrupted, and then, but yeah, they seem particularly of a special breed of bad.
Mm-hmm.
His success landed him a new client, a big one. They asked Bernays to do the impossible, overthrow a foreign government. So Bernays would change history again, but this time he'd do it for the CIA.
Yeah.
See, it's a little more lighthearted.
Jacobo Arbenz was elected as Guatemala's president in 1951, and it brought hope and optimism to the nation. His platform of social reform and economic development resonated with the people, but not with the United Fruit Company.
Oh, the banana.
United Fruit was an American corporation, Guatemala's largest employer and landowner. Its banana plantations generated twice the revenue of the entire country. They wielded immense power. This is where the term Banana Republic comes from. In 1952, Arbenz's government passed a bill requiring the transfer of unused land from large landowners to poor farmers with compensation by the government. The United Fruit Company refused. The normal solution would be to lobby the Arbenz government and reach a compromise. But United Fruit wasn't looking to compromise. They wanted to win. So they hired Edward Bernays, who went right to work. Bernays flooded American media with articles portraying Arbenz as a dangerous communist. It was a lie. In his inaugural address, Arbenz promised to convert Guatemala from a backward country with a feudal economy into a modern capitalist state. But the lie worked. This was the Cold War. A communist threat was just 1,300 miles from U.S. soil. The American people demanded action, and the CIA was more than happy to oblige. The CIA launched Operation PB Success in 1954. They funded and trained a rebel paramilitary force. On June 18th, the Liberation Army seized control of the government, forcing Arbenz into exile. Carlos Castillo Armas was installed as a U.S.-backed military dictator, the first of many.
Se irá a fusilar a quien esté en contra de la ley.
Turmoil in Central America. First there was Nicaragua, then El Salvador, now comes Guatemala.
For 40 years, Guatemala suffered brutality, terror, death squads, and political instability. The human rights violations during this time are so graphic, I can't tell you what they are. And whatever you're guessing, it's worse. 93% of these crimes were committed by CIA-trained operatives. 200,000 dead, another 200,000 fled. 1 million people lost their homes.
Wow.
But the United Fruit Company's profits were safe, thanks to America's master of propaganda.
An interesting little insight into this covert action. One, the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, Henry Cabot Lodge, had personal stock holdings in United Fruit Company. The Assistant Secretary of State, John Lodge, had personal stock holdings in United Fruit Company. The Secretary of State, John Foster Dulles, his law firm did legal work for, I believe it's the Schlafly Bank, which held the papers on the Guatemalan Railroad, which was owned by the United Fruit Company. And the CIA director, Alan Dulles, was his brother, also was a member of the same law firm with this indirect financial interest in United Fruit Company. Arbenz was not a communist, and there was not a single communist in his cabinet.
Wow. Bernays proved you could subconsciously control a person's opinion. But the U.S. military intelligence apparatus wanted more. They wanted to subconsciously control a person's actions. The subliminal was about to become weaponized.
Now we have algorithms for this.
Psychological operations, or PSYOPs, are a standard part of U.S. military operations. The Army Field Manual even calls them vital. The term PSYOP sounds mysterious, but the tactics are usually nothing more than distributing leaflets or broadcasting propaganda over the radio. The goal is to influence enemy behavior using information instead of bullets and bombs. In the thick of the Vietnam War, with American casualties mounting, leaflets weren't going to cut it. But the Army had a powerful new tool that could directly target enemy troops, the Squawk Box. The Squawk Box was a sonic weapon that used specially designed speakers mounted on armored vehicles and helicopters. The human ear can suffer damage from sound over 85 decibels. The Squawk Box could deliver a devastating shriek at 120 decibels from 2.5 miles away.
Wow.
Viet Cong soldiers were instantly incapacitated by the intense sound.
Whoa.
They suffered pain, nausea, and often permanent hearing loss. But the Squawk Box could do more than inflict physical harm. The Army discovered that sound waves could manipulate emotions.
Yup.
Inducing distress and confusion in the enemy. The results were staggering. Between 1967 and 1968, an estimated 30,000 Viet Cong surrendered to U.S. forces. Despite its success, the Squawk Box had a critical flaw. The enemy could hear it coming, literally.
You're being a smartass, but this is actually true. Twitter drives people insane. You will never convince. Twitter is the modern day psyop. You know, I was looking in so the Quartering was tweeting about me today, and he was trying to make me feel bad for how I look or whatever. But it was interesting to go into the replies and see who was actually replying to it. And I was going through the accounts while I was blocking them, and I was like, these are all bots. Like, it's like you can tell by looking at them. I'm like, these are all accounts with like almost no followers. None of them are real people. They don't have a link to anything. They have like a minimal bio. They have minimal. I'm like, these are literally all fucking bots. This is all like its own little psyop. It's just crazy.
Oh yeah, like I said, we have algorithms for this now.
Well, it's like when like it's like back in the day when, you know, someone would like people get pissed off about something I said on Twitter, and all of a sudden like people would announce, "Oh, I unsubscribed from your channel." It's like, I can see the unsubscribes. Like, I know what's happening. It's like I remember this one time specifically, I had all these people announcing in my replies. I had never seen them in the chat before. They never shown up in the comments before, but it was like, "I'm unsubscribing. I can't believe how much you changed it." And it's like, bro, I don't even know who the fuck you are. And I know everyone that comes to my chat regularly, and I don't even know who the fuck you are. But it's just like, it's that sort of stuff that they do to kind of mess with you.
How do they even do that? Like, is there a person in control of all these bots that sends the message and then has all these bots deliver it, or like somebody is coming up with the message, or is like?
I think sometimes it's paid for like that. I think sometimes it's like just a community of people that's trying to fuck with you. Yeah, we see these people in the chat all the time. They're like, "I've been a fan of yours for years," and blah blah blah. And then we check their channel.
Now I'm so disappointed. I can't believe it.
I just don't know what happened to you. You're so disappointed. Like, and then we check their channel history, and they've literally never chatted on the channel before. And it's like, you know, shut the fuck up. Go away.
The Army wanted a more deadly and discreet weapon, something the enemy couldn't see or hear. Sound waves couldn't do it, but electromagnetic waves, they absolutely could.
Ooh, that shit that makes you nauseous too.
In 1961, microwave technology was becoming part of daily life. Microwave ovens had just hit the market, and low levels of microwaves were used in lots of different devices. Biophysicist Alan Frey began studying microwave effects on humans to make sure there were no health risks. He placed subjects in a shielded room and exposed them to different microwave frequencies. At 1310 megahertz, something strange happened. A subject asked about a clicking sound, but the room was silent. It was shielded from the outside, and there were no moving parts involved in this experiment.
Brain being cooked.
Frey discovered that frequencies between 200 and 3000 megahertz caused people to hear sounds that seemed to come from inside their heads. Clicks, knocks, buzzes, and chirps. He could beam sounds directly into the brain without implants. Scientists started using this to train animals, making cats change direction with just microwave pulses.
Oh, I'd like to make cats change direction right into oncoming traffic.
Stop that.
Well, you better tell your demon fur babies to keep their filthy mitts out of my bowl.
Okay, settle down. The CIA wondered, could this technology affect an animal's heart rate? More specifically, could they induce a heart attack remotely? Frey experimented with frog hearts and pulse-modulated radiation. He was actually disturbed to find he could increase a frog's heart rate with no device attached. He did it remotely. Soviet scientists had similar results with rabbits. By 1972, the Soviets moved to human trials. A declassified report revealed they had done over 500 studies on how microwaves affect human behavior. Both lethal and non-lethal effects were found. The mention of lethal effects was a horrifying new detail. They didn't mean to kill their subjects, but they discovered they could. And those that survived exposure could be remotely controlled. The US Army loved it. They immediately ramped up research on microwave radiation. They ordered trucks capable of carrying microwave broadcasting equipment. The goal was to irradiate and immobilize the enemy. In 1976, the Navy finally discovered how Soviet scientists were accidentally killing people. They were using microwaves powerful enough to generate heat. Soviet scientists called it microthermal effects.
That's
If
how
you own
we
a
can
microwave
cook our hot
oven,
dogs so
you call
fast
this
now.
microthermal effect cooking.
The Russians cooked people?
Oh my
Yep.
god.
I bet you taste like chicken.
That's gross.
Oh. Eating human is gross, but eating fish is okay? See what happens when your shoe's on the other fin?
Fair enough.
Fair point. Well,
J.F. Shapitz was a trusted Black Ops scientist who worked for the Department of Defense. He tried broadcasting commands into a subject's mind. It worked. Using low-power microwaves, he could make subjects hear words inside their own heads. The military told Shapitz to go further. They wanted to send commands to a person's subconscious without them hearing the command. In a second round of experiments, one subject was bombarded with microwave radiation. Then something odd happened. He got up from his chair and left. He actually left the lab. Now, this was allowed. The subjects weren't prisoners, but this had never happened before. A little while later, the guy returned with a can of soda. Shapitz asked him why he left in the middle of the experiment. The man said he was thirsty, so he went to the store for a cold drink. Shapitz smiled. The experiment worked. This subject had been programmed to feel thirsty and to go to the store for a soda. It was hypnosis using microwaves.
Wow.
But hypnosis doesn't work on everyone. The military needed a sure thing. And 4 years later, that's exactly what they got.
This is next level science.
In 1980, Dr. Eldon Bird, working for the DoD, was exploring frequencies much shorter than microwaves. He wanted to weaponize human brainwaves.
Of course.
Brainwaves, also known as neural oscillations, are patterns of electrical activity in the brain. These waves have different frequencies that correspond to different mental states. Beta waves for active problem solving, alpha waves for relaxation, and so on. Dr. Bird tried synchronizing external electromagnetic waves with brainwaves. He believed he could influence specific thoughts and emotions by matching the frequency and ramping up the power. It worked. He discovered he could sync with an animal's brainwaves and trigger the release of behavior-regulating chemicals.
We could put animals into a stupor. We got chick brains to dump 80% of the natural opioids in their brains. We got rats to release histamine.
Histamine is released in response to allergens, dust, pollen, mites. Histamine also causes a cascade of inflammatory reactions. Bird was thrilled.
In humans, this would cause instant flu-like symptoms and produce nausea. You would disable a person temporarily. It would have been like a stun gun.
Bird used the phrase would have been because his project was shut down after 2 years, despite being approved for 4. He was onto something groundbreaking. He suspected the program wasn't shut down. He believed it was moved to Black Ops, and he was right. In 1982, a U.S. Air Force report contained an ominous warning.
Understanding the brain as an electrically mediated organ suggests that impressed electromagnetic fields are capable of directing behavior. Further, the passage of 100 milliamperes through the myocardium can lead to cardiac standstill and death.
The U.S. Air Force was secretly continuing Bird's brainwave research. They hired Dr. Ross 80 to weaponize it. 80 began by implanting transmitters into animal brains. These devices didn't receive information, the implants sent out information. 80 compiled a library of frequencies and their corresponding mental and physical states. Then he turned the animals' brainwaves against them. By broadcasting certain frequencies back into their brains, he could manipulate their behavior and their emotions at will. Eventually, he refined the technique to work without implants. It was time to test the technology on the human brain. He placed the subject's head in an active electromagnetic field and tuned it to a specific frequency depending on the result he wanted. In one experiment, he turned the machine to induce theta waves. Our brains produce theta waves as we're falling asleep. The subject of the experiment fell asleep. The technology for a revolutionary new weapon was born. Now, it was time to build it. A device that can manipulate a person's thoughts and emotions sounds like science fiction. At best, it sounds like pseudoscience. But not only does such a device exist, but it's been patented, although the full schematics are classified by the US government. Patent number 5159703, issued to Silent Sounds Incorporated, describes something called a silent subliminal presentation system. The device maps electrical brain activity corresponding to specific emotions. These emotional signal clusters are identified and logged to create a database of emotions. Human brainwaves are then cloned and enhanced. You select a desired emotion, fear, despair, hopelessness, and the system can transmit it. The emotional triggers are carried by the silent sound spread spectrum, or SQUAD, a subliminal carrier technology that operates at either very low or very high frequencies. The key is that it's inaudible. And what makes the system more practical and more dangerous is that SQUAD can be transmitted using a carrier frequency like ordinary radio or television.
What you talking about, Willis?
Okay, let's say you want someone to feel sad. You grab the brainwave frequency for sadness from your database. Then you layer that inaudible sound wave on top of an audible sound wave, like an FM radio wave. So the target hears the radio broadcast, but doesn't realize a second wave hitched a ride. That second wave syncs with the target's brain, triggering sadness, or whatever emotion you want. According to the patent, the resulting emotion is overwhelming. Now, the patent insists that this is not a weapon, but it does note the waves are subliminal and undetectable. That makes them dangerous. Silent Sounds Inc. claims to focus solely on positive emotions. But in 1996, the president of Silent Sounds couldn't stop himself from bragging about the device's true purpose.
While the schematics are classified by the US government, we are allowed to say we work with governments around the world. The Germans, even former Soviet Union countries.
And then he let the big one slip.
The system was used throughout Operation Desert Storm quite successfully.
The US military had achieved subliminal mind control and deployed the technology in Iraq, and many Iraqi troops died trying to stop it.
Wow.
In 1991, Saddam Hussein occupied Kuwait with a huge army, nearly 500,000 soldiers. It was the fifth largest military in the world, and they were battle-tested from 8 years of war with Iran. So it sounded like wishful thinking when the Bush administration said they wanted Iraqi troops to simply lay down their arms and go home. Huh? Why would they do that? Because the US military had a new secret weapon. A radio station in the small town of Khafji. If you tuned into the station, you'd hear music or news, like any radio station. But embedded in the radio transmission was a signal that mimics a brainwave frequency, specifically the frequency that creates the feeling of hopelessness. And it worked. Entire battalions laid down their arms.
Wow.
Iraqi tanks flew white flags. They simply lost the will to fight. American troops rolled into Kuwait heavily armed and ready for battle. Iraqi troops were waiting patiently, thousands of them. One Marine said they were surrendering so fast they could hardly keep up. The war seemed to be coming to an end. That's why it was a surprise to the Marines in Khafji when around 8 p.m. on January 29th, Iraq's 5th Mechanized Division attacked and took the town. This was a much-needed propaganda victory for Iraq, but it didn't last.
I would tell you, I don't think that battle is over by a long shot. I expect a lot more fighting will probably start tonight.
2 days later, American air power overwhelmed Khafji and the 5th Mechanized Division.
Go ahead.
Wait, I mean, that's not a bad use of it. I mean, to cause, peace, at least in that one instance of getting guys to surrender instead of fighting. I mean, like, I don't hate that. It's not probably ethical, but still.
No, I mean, it is definitely a fair point. It's like if you're gonna like, I mean, it's a nice peaceful way to end a war is to, mentally fuck with your opponents.
There you go. They'll just go home and be fine. I mean, they're not going to be brain damaged.
Was completely wiped out, but they destroyed the transmitter that was subliminally making Iraqi troops surrender, so they accomplished their mission. Or did they? U.S. government officials deny any of this ever happened and are adamant that such a system does not exist. Former Navy Weapons Research Director Charles Bernard was asked about it.
I have yet to see one of these ray gun things that actually works. And DARPA has come to us every few years to see if there are ways to incapacitate the central nervous system remotely, but nothing has ever come of it. That's too science fiction and far-fetched.
Okay, so it's just a conspiracy theory. The CIA did not use FM radio to transmit subliminal messages. That's the official position. But here's something strange. A ceasefire agreement was reached that allowed Saddam Hussein to remain in power. This brought a lot of criticism of the Bush administration, but the purpose of the war was to free Kuwait, not overthrow the Iraqi government.
Our goal is not the conquest of Iraq. It is the liberation of Kuwait.
Yeah, okay.
It is my hope that somehow the Iraqi people can, even now, convince their dictator that he must lay down his arms.
But on March 1st, 1991, one day after the ceasefire, a revolt against Saddam Hussein's government broke out in Basra. The rebellion spread to every major city in southern Iraq. Up to 100,000 Iraqis were killed. A no-fly zone was established. So what caused this sudden rebellion? A radio broadcast called The Voice of Free Iraq encouraged the revolt.
Can I answer?
That radio station was in a small town in Saudi Arabia. And
yeah, go ahead.
So Janet asked, is that the real reason they killed Saddam? What I've heard on that, and again, could be tinfoil hat time, don't know, but it is look upable. He wanted to go back to the gold standard and take the dollar off of oil.
Oh.
And the Clintons were not going to allow that. So they took him down and they warned him. They were like, quit it. And he was like, no, because he thought America was becoming too powerful. He was not wrong. And he wanted to go back to the gold standard on oil prices and get rid of the dollar. So that is what I heard about that.
Fascinating.
Operated by the CIA. Most say this is just a coincidence, that no subliminal weapons exist. Maybe, but there are others who believe that not only does this subliminal technology exist, it was deployed in Iraq for a specific purpose. It was a test run for something bigger. The following year, a facility was built in Fairbanks, Alaska. The project was run by DARPA and had a huge budget. The Department of Defense built a high-powered transmitter that could send electromagnetic pulses into the ionosphere and anywhere in the world. It's called HARP. But that's a different episode.
That one's really good too. I love all his stuff.
Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. My name is AJ. You know Hecklefish.
I thought those were really good, Jennifer. I mean, slightly terrifying, but
it's good to know what's what. I mean, this is why we do this. Is why you do what you do to spread truth. And
everything is fake and gay. That's what I've learned. Every single thing is fake and gay.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate so many more people coming out tonight on this Tuesday night. We do this show every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. and we talk about all sorts of woo-woo and conspiracy theories and aliens and all sorts of crazy stuff. And it's just a fun, good time just to chill out and to watch some interesting content and to not argue or bicker or have any of that other stuff. So I appreciate everyone joining us tonight. Jennifer, do you have any announcements before we wrap up?
Yes, just let's see, movie night next week, rounding out Spin It Up September with Surrogates, and I'm really excited for you to see this one with Bruce Willis and a bunch of people. Really great. I think Ving Rhames is in it. It's a great flick. Another conspiracy kind of thing. I kind of took a break from conspiracy movies for a while, and I'm like, I gotta wrap that back in. So we did Dark City last week, and we'll do Surrogates, and then we'll go into October for our spooky October movies. Let's see what Macbee's Magical Movie Mondays. He will be doing The Stand Part 3.
Oh, there's a part 3. Oh, so he must have split it up into smaller sections then.
Yeah, I think it was like almost
which
like
is probably smart.
5.5 hours. Yeah, so he did it in 3 parts, and yeah. So then after that, he's got some October trick or treats. He's going to be doing the Chronicles of Riddick, The Hills Have Eyes, Salem's Lot Part 1, and Salem's Lot Part 2.
Cool. Well, he's got a good. I love Salem's Lot. Salem's Lot is a great movie as well. So Mac B, I think, like, you know, Jennifer, your movie night is the original movie night. Obviously, Sundays are the best movie night, but Mac B is giving you a run for your money because Mac B is doing all these like cult classics and stuff like that. So I highly encourage everyone, get into the supporter Discord, join the Substack. I send the link out every Sunday night. If you want the link another time, just like bug me or something and I can send it to you during the week, but I send it out once a week. Get yourself verified in the Discord. Come and join us for movie nights on Sundays and Monday nights. Yep. And Derek wants to know, where did half the merch store go? Bro, I'm rebuilding the merch store. We're starting over. I had too much stuff in the merch store. I felt the need to wipe the slate clean. We're going to be doing lots of special edition items in the merch store. Right now I have my own special edition line of coffee. Jennifer,
I heard you joined the coffee train. Yes,
I did, just temporarily, just to stick it to Jeremy. And shockingly, people have actually ordered it. So thank you to everyone who has ordered my limited edition coffee in the Red Menace Supply Company. That is redmenacesupply.com. And I've got some t-shirts in the works. We're going to be launching our Halloween movie collection for t-shirts and stuff like that, where I do t-shirts based on like Halloween movies and stuff like that, but also related to communism. And so yeah, we got more stuff coming there too. So that's all I got.
Right on. Well, you know, I live in abundance. There's plenty of movies. I love that Mac is doing movie night, and I love that you're going to have some fun with some horror themed shirts. I can't wait to see what you come up with, because you always do something. Yeah. You always come up with really great designs, so it's going to be fun to see.
We're going to bring back a couple from last year that I just really liked. We're going to bring back the Collectivism t-shirt, because I think that t-shirt's just badass. I love it. And we're going to bring back Marxist Night of the Dead, and we're going to bring that one back. And I'm going to got a couple new ones that I'm working on as well. So we'll have a whole Halloween collection in the merch store coming soon.
Nice. You'll have to do a Saw themed one, like Socialism, Live or Die, Make Your Choice, or something like that.
That's not about. I do have. I'm working on a Village of the Damned design right now. I love Village of the Damned. Last. What is his name? What was his Clark Kent? What was his name?
Superman.
Yeah, Superman. What was his real name though?
Well, Clark Kent was his. Oh, you mean
the guy who played it, the original Superman,
Christopher Reeves.
Christopher Reeves. Village of the Damned was Christopher Reeves' last movie before he had his accident.
Oh, damn!
And it's a great movie. It's a cult classic. Like I know people think it's cheesy, but I love that movie. I thought they did such a good job, and so we will have a Village of the Damned theme design, and it might have rainbow flags in it. Is all I'm saying, Jennifer. It might have rainbow flags.
You need a Children of the Corn Outlander.
Actually, that's not. I loved Children of the Corn. Actually, I didn't thought about that, but maybe I should do a Children of the Corn themed.
There's so many good ideas. Horror is the best.
Man.
It's so good.
All right. Well, I guess that's all we have for tonight, and we hope you guys join us back next Tuesday night at 9 p.m. where we'll be doing a different topic, and I will be back live tomorrow at 5 p.m. and it'll be awesome.
See you guys around the block.
See you guys. Have a good one. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.